I'm Arthur Moats, and I'm here to tell you about my new book, The Moats Theory of Life. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, I strongly encourage you to. This book not only is a fun read, but it's a guide to helping you become a person of impact and inspiration. If you are ready to take the next step to improving not only your life, but those around you as well, go get a copy of The Moats Theory of Life, and it's available at moatstheory.com. What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, bro?
Man, you already know what it is, baby. Not another episode brought to you by anyone right now because contract has officially ended. But shout out to DraftKings and all the love that they showed us throughout the season, baby. Yes, indeed. But right now, man, we back to the old groove, man. The Moats and Deke vibe.
So the Steelers or the NFL, they're not the only ones in this free agency period right now.
Correct. They are not the only ones in the free agency period. But, you know, we would love to stay where we are. We're going to keep our options open, though. We're going to take some time to spend with our families and just reassess the situation and make sure that, you know, we're getting the correct contract for us, so that way it's no funny business going forward in terms of, man, are we underperforming or are we overperforming said contract? You know, we got to find that right balance
For sure.
You know, but I think we said it the way we're supposed to say it, right? We're going to take, you know, we would love to stay put though.
Yeah.
We would love to return. We love to return.
100%. That's what I was thinking.
You know,
I thought that'd be our first option, right?
We're kind of like Juju right now. Okay. We're the Juju of the podcast sponsorship game. You know, we want to stay put, we want to stay loyal, but at the same time, we're going to be open to other opportunities as well if that presents itself.
Fair enough.
You know, so we'll see what happens with Juju, and hopefully we'll see what happens with us. But yeah, I'm excited, man. This is a good time. This is a fun time, man. Fun time not only for us in the podcast, but for Steeler Nation as well, man. We saw over the weekend, we had 2 more guys get inducted into the Hall of Fame. You talk about going from, man, is there a bias towards Steelers, you know, getting into the Hall because there's so many of these guys already in there? And is that the reason why we're not seeing guys? And now here we are, back-to-back classes, a total of 5 inductees, man. So for those that aren't aware, over the weekend, Alan Faneca and Bill Nunn both got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Awesome for both of these guys. We talked about it a little bit, you know, in previous podcasts in terms of the weight that, you know, Alan Faneca had to endure in terms of, you know, we thought he should have been a first ballot guy, and it took him multiple attempts to get in, but now he was finally inducted, and man, it's no better feeling because he's an awesome guy, just a genuinely good guy. We talked about his impact on the field. I always laugh when you talk about how you would even evaluate him in terms of, man, I don't know offensive line, but I know Madden, and Madden always had him rated high. Like, it's legit.
It was every year, 98, 97. Right. I was always hoping Ben's rating would keep going up, but every time I would just see Faneca at that point, and yeah, you had to think he was pretty good.
Absolutely. And I also love that with that, you think about every time you post that, how many people can react and relate to that, because that was the truth. Like, not everybody knows how to evaluate offensive linemen, but this dude was a beast. And not only was he a beast at guard, you saw when he bumped out the tackle, he could still hold his own there and be a Pro Bowl caliber, all pro caliber player at that position as well. So to see him get in, man, long overdue, but very much deserved. And the same goes with Bill Nunn. He changed the face of scouting. He changed it, man, in terms of going out there and finding the athletes at the HBCU colleges, the small schools, man, the universities that are off the beaten path that at that particular time, you know, scouts weren't going in to find these players. He did that, and that ultimately changed the face of the Steelers, and especially the dynasties that were created in the 70s. And not only for the Steelers, but then just from the NFL standpoint as a whole, multiple teams started to say, oh man, well, I can go to more than just, you know, a Power 5 school and find some of these guys. I can go to some of these smaller schools, some of these predominantly, you know, these HBCU schools, right? Historically black colleges, and find athletes there that can still compete at this level. And we saw, like I said, the impact that it had, you know, here in Pittsburgh, the 6 Lombardis as a representation of that as well, man. So, you know, the fact that we were able to get both of those guys in this class, and obviously they're going to do a joint induction with last year's class as well, because of the pandemic, they couldn't get in. So that's where we're able to have 5 guys in one class. The quick recap of those 5: Troy Polamalu, Donnie Shell, Bill Cowher, and then obviously Alan Faneca and Bill Nunn. I mean, to me, this is an awesome situation. I just hope that, Canton is open and available to like regular like scenario, not like COVID protocols, because if that's the first like, oh, everybody gets to get back, you already know that's gonna be a movie. Oh, baby, it'll be a movie.
We're gonna be there.
Come listen, I need that. I already told you the first go around when we said, hey man, it's a potential that Troy could get inducted. I had told you then. I said, man, look, Troy getting inducted, I gotta be there.
Well, you said, remember your reaction if he didn't get in?
Yeah, and I said, if he didn't get in, I'm going to be there. Either way, I was going to be there. It was going down. It was either going to be, I'm there, and nobody knows it because I'm just applauding my guy get his speech and everybody talks about my guy and everybody's good like that. Or it's going to be, y'all know I'm there and he's not there because most of them went in there and started bumping in the bus. He kicked over this guy's bus right there. He knocked over every Raven that was in the hall. He said Ratbird shit forever suck. That's what he put on him. Like, y'all would know. And I already told you, I got the lifetime membership. So whoever wanted to roll, when you roll with me, you get in for free. So it was that simple. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to have me and whoever else wants to join the party. And we're going to rearrange. It's going to look like anybody that's seen the original Batman movie. I'm talking with Michael Keaton. It's going to look like when the Joker went into the little art gallery and he's spray painting, the Picassos here. And he got this on and he playing the Prince music. Like, it was going to look like that. I'm glad the NFL, they did what they needed to do so that way I didn't have to go that route.
I think they saw the video.
But I was ready, though.
I know.
I was definitely ready. And we definitely know the NFL is always watching. Always watching.
True.
But yeah, man, like I said, man, I was just really hype about that, though, man. Like I said, it was really good to see those guys get in. Obviously, Bill Nunn's passed away, and God bless his soul. But for his family, for them to be able to experience this, man. Obviously, his daughter has worked with the Steelers in some capacity throughout the years and stuff like that. So for her to be able to get, that experience as well, it's like, man, this is a good thing. I'm excited about it, man.
100%. It's awesome. I actually woke up on, was it Sunday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday morning.
Yes.
Because the awards were Saturday night.
Yeah.
Had no clue they were doing the Hall of Fame stuff. I knew they were going to do Defensive Player of the Year, all the stuff that we talked about on the previous podcast, MVP. No clue they were doing Hall of Fame. So I woke up, pleasant surprise. I slept in too. It was like noon. I'm seeing Faneca, Bill Nunn, Hall of Fame. I'm like, wow, this is great. Dude. This is a great morning so far. But then I saw the other news and was like, wow.
Yeah, we definitely had to take that turn. That was wild. In fact, I do want to talk about that. Was
that a flawless transition by me?
It was. You know what else is flawless?
I didn't even mean to.
You know what else is flawless, though?
What?
Your haircut, baby.
Thanks,
You
man.
looking sharp.
Hey, I told you.
You are looking sharp.
I'm motivated to get on a good path here coming up. My 2 goals, what did I say?
Brad Pitt, man.
Brad Pitt and Fight Club. I've been on a nice diet over the past however many days. I feel amazing, so I just need to stay with it.
The new cut,
I don't want to go backwards.
The new cut makes you look so just like sophisticated, healthy. Like I said last time, I gave you the compliment of that, old faithful couch, right? That chair that everybody loves, just come over and sit on. It doesn't look like much, but it's always comfortable. You just know it's money. Now you starting to look like you from like Restoration Hardware, one of these higher end, very contemporary, very, very fashion forward, style furniture stores, man. You now you're looking like that dining room set. He's like, I like it. We only go here on special occasions, though.
Maybe something you put into a fancy apartment downtown,
absolutely,
a little
man.
Studio apartment. Yeah.
No. Condo.
Put
in a condo down or a loft. Yeah, you got to put in one of those downtown. That's what you're looking like right now. You look good, man.
Right, thanks,
I
man.
like it, man. I like this new you. I like it.
I'm getting there, dude. It's a day by day, week by week process, though. So we all heard my goals. So let's see if we can do it.
One day at a time.
Let's see if we can do it.
Hey, one day at a time. It look good today. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Worry about tomorrow, man.
Next week or the next podcast, who knows? What matters is the next one. That's
absolutely, man. We're gonna celebrate the moment.
Yep.
That's what we here for. And speaking of the moment, and like how you transitioned as well, man, in terms of you waking up to find out that TJ Watt, for the second year in a row now, fell short in his campaign for Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald won it. Won by 7 votes? Yeah, he had 27 votes. TJ had 20. Then they said Xavier Howard, cornerback from Miami, had the rest of the votes, I believe. Or maybe someone else had like one other vote. But
it was out of 50 votes?
Yeah, but that was...
So that'd be like 3...
Yeah, it was like he had like 3 max, I think it was. Yeah. So that was that whole spread down there, man. But I was definitely surprised by it. I was frustrated but it was weird because my frustration was more so because, like I talked about on the last podcast, like I was biased. I said I didn't really care about the particulars of making the argument for either guy. We kind of broke down the argument you can make for either guy, but I was like, because I'm biased, this is the guy I want to win. So obviously I was upset, and the video showed that afterwards. But when I take my bias off of it, I can't be mad that Donald won. It's not like Donald wasn't great this year as well, and it's not like his impact wasn't felt as well. Like I said, it was just more so here in Pittsburgh, we know what we see on the day-to-day, and then obviously you had the numbers to back it up. So that's why it's hard to comprehend them giving it to Donald. But for the other element of it, the football side, to me, it reminded me of 2018 season here in Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju's team MVP, right? Juju has the better numbers receiving wise. AB leads the league in touchdown passes. And remember, the debate was who's the better receiver all of a sudden, right? Is Juju the new number one? Has he taken over? And what did we say?
Saying this shit?
No, don't
I get it. It probably was. I don't remember this. This was before we started recording.
A ton of people were saying this. Absolutely,
being plugged in like that.
A ton of people were saying it, man. A ton of people, and that was the whole reason why the animosity after the fact, once he left and talking about AB. Remember, and he makes the comment about Juju's 500 yards. And hey, man, some people will talk about being number one. Some people are number ones. But the biggest difference in the football guys, we would say this during that year. We said Juju has great numbers, yes, but he is benefiting largely from the attention that AB garners. And we said with all this attention that AB gets, the double teams and the triple teams, his numbers still are very much comparable. Not saying that they're better, but they are comparable to Juju. And we just simply said, man, I don't think if the scenarios were reversed that Juju could put up that type of production that would mirror what AB was doing. And when I watch Aaron Donald versus TJ, two different positions, but the fact of the matter is the double teams and triple teams that Donald faces on a play in and play out basis are drastically different than the one or two plays that you might pull up on TJ where it's three guys around him, but it's off of a play action pass, not a drop back pass. It's off of a misdirection pass. It's not like you can double team him and triple team. We broke that down last podcast as well. You're not going to be able to just say, oh, tight end stay in a block, this guy stay in a block, and we're going to run this concept. You know, that it doesn't happen consistently. Whereas with Donald, because of his position, it does happen consistently. He's having two guys at minimum on him every play. And when you look at the numbers, even though TJ's numbers were better, we said, man, Donald's are still comparable, and he's doing it from already a disadvantage from a position standpoint as a D tackle. So to me, that's why I was like, when I take off my bias, I said I could understand them giving him the award. Not saying that I like it, but I could understand it. That was my thing, man.
I think the best way to put it's probably we're bummed, we're upset, not outraged though.
Correct. Yes.
The thing that irks me with it though is that it's not defensive valuable player of the year. Where it's defensive player of the year, and we talked about largely based off stats.
Absolutely.
So if you want to look into it, how you broke it down, that completely makes sense. Where if you're drafting a team, you probably would take Donald over TJ Watt as a starter on your defense to start off your franchise. But just in terms of this year, it's like, man, TJ had all the numbers.
Yeah,
I thought he would get it. And what's the other thing I wanted to say was that I think the thing that sucks too is that Donald has previously won it, and you know how what happens with these awards. All right, let's give another dude a turn,
right?
And it just didn't happen
because we talked about that with LeBron, right?
Yeah.
And we saw how
that's what I mean.
Yeah, Westbrook get it one year. All right, Harden, you get it this year, even though Bron's numbers were still the same or better. It's like, oh, give it to the new guy. Let this guy get a go. Yeah.
Like how it normally goes with the awards didn't seem like it happened this year.
Correct.
I think that was maybe one of the frustrating things too, and it goes back to everything you said, like. Donald getting it, I don't even have a problem with it at all. But it's just like we want our guy to get it.
Yeah, and I think if TJ wasn't in the running, I don't think any of us react the way that we reacted.
He'd be fine with it.
That.
He came from Pitt,
right?
You know?
Pitt guy, and it's like, dude, he's a genuinely like a good guy. He's not even like a jerk or anything like that. From at least from my experiences with him, so that would be the approach. But I do think. Going back to what you were talking about in terms of the wording of the awards and stuff like that, when I looked at the voters, the 50 people who had the official votes, I could understand also why Donald got the votes that he got. When you look, I thought initially the votes was just solely, you know, these beat writers, these guys who really never played the game. But when you look, it's a good mix of not just beat writers, but former players. Like Michael Strahan has a vote. Like it's multiple Hall of Famers that have votes. Obviously, you're gonna have your TV personalities, right? Your media guys, some of your print guys, but they did have a good mix of both guys, women, former players, guys who just covered the game. Was it Greg Casale? The NFL Films guy or whatever. Like he's the guy who has a vote, and like I said, I value his opinion. Just being able to spend time with him at the broadcast boot camp and watching film with him, I'm like, you know what you're talking about. So when you see those type of guys, I'm like, I can understand why they would also share that sentiment that I kind of just broke down.
They would have a little more nuance,
because that's kind of how I would look at it. If I'm voting, that would have been my approach without being biased. And I'm like, these guys wouldn't have a reason to be biased either. So if you're not going to be biased, that's how you're going to break this thing down. And I think that that's ultimately what they ended up doing right there, man.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. It sucks. You mentioned in your video, though, could be a good thing for next year, huh?
Dude, did you see the tweet? Literally, I said it. I posted the video, bro.
I wouldn't have thought TJ would be posting that, huh?
I just had, I didn't think.
I thought he would be like, just leave it for other people, like my brother, Steelers teammates. Right. But for him to post that,
I loved it.
It's like, whoa.
I loved it. So I saw it. I was like, yeah. And I'm in the process of rewatching Last Dance. Like, I'm weird. I guess that normal. Like I watched the documentary before, but then like after a couple of months, I'll go back and rewatch it again.
That's fine.
I feel like I pick up on stuff I missed the first time, man.
Yeah.
It was. It's dope, bro. It's the nostalgia thing too, bro. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, he's got those shoes, got those. But seeing him post that meme, I'm like, I remember what Jordan was on when he said that. I know how that man felt, boy. Oh, it's about to go down. And it was perfect too, because he's like, well, you know, they gave Charles the MVP. I thought I should have had an MVP that year. Perfect. Okay. They gave Donald an MVP. Oh, TJ, you thought you should have had it? Perfect. And we already know we don't, like, that's the thing. You don't even need to motivate TJ. TJ is motivated enough. It's kind of like the Jordan documentary. You don't need a reason to motivate Jordan. Jordan's going to get motivated on his own.
Oh, you heard some of these stories that have come out. I forget who it was. Was it Connor or was it Minka? They said that he's been writing down on like a piece of paper every day, Defensive Player of the Year. This is my goal. This is my goal. So, yeah.
He wants it. I love it. And he's a guy that is more than capable enough of doing it. Not only is he going to be motivated by that, but then also, I mean, he's in line for a mega deal this offseason, right? So now he's going to be coming back under a different perspective of beforehand, before you have the money, you're underpaid. Now, once you get that deal, you got to live up to it, or you want to exceed those expectations. Now we're talking a different ballpark. We love TJ Watt, 10 plus 15 sacks or whatever on the contract he's on. When he starts the double-digit contract number, that becomes the mandatory requirement. You're not allowed to have an off year. You can't have a 6.5, a 7.5. We start looking at you a little bit different. Conversations are had a little bit different surrounding you. So now it's going to be okay. Now he's going to be motivated to live up to that. So now you got that motivation. You got this motivation of him feeling like he's been snubbed 2 years in a row. It's the perfect. Like I said, I'm glad for us here in Pittsburgh because we know what that's going to look like, and we're going to need it. We're going to need it, man. We said that obviously, Bud Dupree is more than likely gone. And we do think Alex Highsmith is going to continue to evolve and get better, but he's not Bud right now. Mm-hmm. Highly motivated TJ can make up for a lot of that, though. Mm-hmm. Highly motivated TJ, man, hey, you can have a couple of flaws on your roster. You can have a couple of, missed assignments here and there when you got motivated TJ on a tear TJ like that TJ we're going to see next year. Like I said, I'm excited. I might have to break out. I might have to go get me a 90 jersey. I got his shoes. I got you know what I'm saying?
Wait, what shoes? Cleats or?
No, he has this would have been his first year. So it was in partnership with Reebok, right? Because obviously JJ had the Reebok signature sneaker. They had made like a one-off for him.
Really?
And obviously he showed us all love. He's like, oh yeah, man, I got everybody these, Reebok shoes. And at the time I'm a Nike guy. So I'm like, I'm never putting on Reebok shoes. But once I retired, I was like, man, I need something to work out with, when I'm in the crib. I'm like, I don't want to put on my Jordans. I don't want to put on, my Nike stuff that I worked out in. I'm like, it's a little beat up. It's not good for lighter color carpet. I'm like, let me get a shoe that I haven't touched that is nice. And I put them on. I'm like, yo, I got the TJ Watt. So every time I work out, I'm like, I do a little kick at the end. I'm like, this is what TJ would do.
Were they mass produced for the public, or was it just?
I don't think they were.
Maybe like 50 or so, 100 or so.
Because it was definitely like an individual thing for us. Yeah. Okay. So, yep.
That's
but it was
cool,
good, man. I liked it. I still to this day, man. It's been what 2-3 years now since I've been with T. No, going on 4. Yeah.
Buying a 90 jersey though. I haven't seen you wear a Steeler jersey. I don't think.
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. Have I worn a jersey here? I don't think I've worn a jersey here, bro.
No, you haven't worn a jersey here or when we've been out for tailgates or anything.
You're right. I typically don't, man. I'm trying to think. The last time I've had a jersey,
you're a little more removed now.
Mine.
You're becoming that more of a fan.
Yeah, but it's still weird because in the end, it's like, bro, I don't need to wear your jersey. I have my own jersey. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But then I don't like that because I feel like it's not as humble. You know what I mean?
Right. You're right.
It comes off a little like, oh, you one of those. He's going your own thing. Like, it's a flex. I don't want to flex. So, yeah.
So you're thinking about it.
I thought about it once or twice. But I got something else I might break out one day.
Whoa,
I might break out. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Then I feel like if I do break, I got to wear it like backwards because we're on camera. I want you to like.
Yeah, you need to know who it is. I've thought about that too because there's certain numbers. Like if I were to buy a Martavis jersey, because I already have the Cordell Stewart jersey. Like you need to know.
How do I know
the
if that's Martavis? How do I know if that's Tone Time? Like who is that? You know. So yeah,
I agree.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But that wasn't the only surprise we had with the votes.
What else?
Somebody that we thought was going to be unanimous for comeback player of the year.
I didn't think so.
A guy clearly a guy that we talked about on the podcast that we thought would win comeback player of the year unanimously. And the NFL voters, even on NFL.com doing their preview predictions of it, they even had to win this unanimously. He had 49 out of 1 vote, 49 out of 50 votes. Alex Smith did for comeback player of the year. The guy that almost lost his life, obviously had the leg injury, looked very Joe Theismann-like, and then he got infected while he was in the hospital. From there, he almost lost his leg, and then from there, almost losing his leg, he almost lost his life, but then he made a complete, return, gets on the field, 5-1 as a starter, leads his team to the playoffs, etc. He doesn't get it unanimous because a certain individual received 1 vote. And that certain individual resides here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Super Bowl champion multiple time, quarterback, gunslinger himself, coming off of a very traumatic injury in its own right, Ben Roethlisberger. And there were reports that started coming out after the fact about this 1 vote. We were all trying to figure out where this vote came from. And we're going to get to the bottom of it today. So initially, I'm thinking, okay, 1 vote had to come from a Pittsburgh guy. I told you how Ed Bouchette, I'm like, he's had votes in the past. Typically, he's a voter. It's got to be Ed. Ed clears his name. He goes to Twitter right away.
Really?
I can't make this up. He goes to Twitter. He says 49 out of 50 votes, 1 vote for Roethlisberger. The 1 vote didn't come from anybody from Pittsburgh in terms of any Pittsburgh media guy because none of us had a vote this year. So I was like, interesting. So it wasn't a media guy. Okay. Or an official, one of those bigwigs. So I got to thinking. I said, who in Pittsburgh is computer savvy enough to find a way to crack the code? They could get, some ballot stuffing, ballot altering going on. I said, I know a guy who's pretty nice with the computers. I know a guy. I know him personally. Pretty good relationship with the guy. Then I said, well, okay.
He's in media?
I said, he's in media. Yeah, he's big wig in media, man. Doing his thing all on social media, YouTube, like does his private thing on his channel. Like, he's all over the place, right? He does a lot. Then I said, okay, who's passionate enough about Ben Roethlisberger that they would vote for him over a guy that almost lost his life? Who would view an elbow injury the same as almost losing your life? But I said, who could have that much passion for this quarterback, for this guy? So I got to thinking even more. I said, I do know a guy. I said, I know a guy that I've seen, go to the ends of the earth battling for this guy. I've seen him tell me straight
Pirates
to my
of the Caribbean,
face. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Flipping upside down a pirate ship, going into other worlds.
To do whatever it takes to find a way to justify. I've never heard quarterback rating and QBR spoken of differently. I've never heard completion percentage versus pass completion ratio spoken of so eloquently. But anytime it's time to discuss 7, we get a new statistic that is brought up by individuals. So I'm like, dang, all right. So now I'm starting to connect these dots. I said, all right, I got a guy who's tech savvy. I got a guy who's in the media. I got a guy who will absolutely do whatever it takes to make sure Ben is viewed as the GOAT, even though we saw another guy who at the time had 6 rings, 4 MVPs in the Super Bowl, go and get a 7th Lombardi and get a 5th one. But that's neither here nor there. All right, cool. So I said, okay, who could this guy be? And I had to narrow it down. And then, just like any, person would do, that likes to let the world know how savvy they are when they get over on the system, they take the social media. And my good friend that I thought it was goes by the name of Chillin' with Deke. Not on one platform, multiple platforms. My man Deke let us know that he was the person that got that vote in somehow, some way.
Had nothing to do with being tech savvy either. Sent in an envelope, just all my votes. It must have just got mixed up, maybe.
I love it.
Maybe it was something on the NFL's end. They messed up. They flipped some envelopes. They meant to toss mine away. Toss it in the official ballot recording.
Well, you know how it happened.
What?
Because, they were so bent, because now we can say Super Bowl. But, last week they were so bent on just tracking everybody's Super Bowl, wording and phrasing and advertising that they overlooked that. But because we were already a part of the NFL's bubble of guys that we're looking at, you were already on the big table. And then from there, an elbow gets bumped, yours goes into the good list instead of the bad list, and you're good to go.
That's what I'm thinking happened. And I don't know how many other people with my, I guess, ranking in life or just who they are, fans, or, we just like the game. That's all. Who are sending envelopes into the NFL. So maybe I was like the only one.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. It's a legit thing. Like, you could go get the address. I forgot the address off the top of my head, but it's in New York. You good. Right, the address, Park Drive.
You just
Park
need a little
Avenue.
Motivation. And
a little Park Avenue. I think it's 1400 Park Avenue, New York. Yeah. Just go hit it up, man. Yeah. Send them a letter. And while you're doing that, recommend, the Arthmos Experience with Deke podcast as the official podcast of the NFL next. I mean, that's like the, while you doing your list of recommendations, just throwing that out there. But
I'll do it next time because I just hand wrote this one.
Okay. It was a little rushed.
It was.
But yeah, I did think it was funny, man. But it was cool to see your guy, somebody get the vote. I was like, all right, shout out.
Did anyone come down to it? Like,
no one said anything yet, though. Yeah, we're still waiting to see it. Like I said, we all thought it was going to be a Pittsburgh writer, but Ed Bruchette, no exaggeration, he definitely went up there to Twitter and put that out there that it was nobody in Pittsburgh from a media standpoint. So I'm just like, dude, who's about to take that? Who's about to raise their hand and say, I did it, that was me? Because it's going to look bad for them right now.
You think?
It will. Just because the comparison, they simply, even that night, they simply just went back to the whole, wow, I mean, it wasn't unanimous, but this guy almost lost his life. And then they showed the heartfelt, montage of everything. And then he had the people talking for him and stuff like that. I mean, it was a dope team, man.
I feel like it could be hilarious if someone owns it, though.
I feel like it would be too. But, for the little bit buttoned up crowd, the not as loose and flowy as we are, they not going to find it as funny. This is disrespectful to the integrity of the award, to the brand, to the shield. If you're going to just vote for whoever like that, you might not deserve a vote anymore. Like, it could look that way a little bit. Just showing devil's advocate, that's all.
No, I get that, but then it comes down to, I guess, that person.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to do, it's their choice, but
true.
You could be a legend in that the looser community.
Yeah,
that would be funny. That'd be funny.
You definitely could.
So it's, what do you want to do? Maybe he does have like an inner circle though with those more button up people that could mess him up career wise down the line. I don't know.
Typically, if you had to decide career wise, most of the time the more button up people are the ones that are gatekeepers.
Yeah,
whereas the more loose career, So
I don't know what he's thinking. Maybe
wisely.
Yeah. He's looking at all options, but I'm just letting him know if he comes out and he owns it, it's like, it is what it is. 33 touchdowns. I voted for Ben. What would it do? Like, he'd be looked highly upon with certain people for sure. Definitely me. I would give you a salute.
No doubt. Only because it was your guy. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Dude, but the funniest thing was that tweet that I sent out. It was like a quote tweet. It was exactly that. It was some NFL account literally just flipping out. Like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe someone would do this. And then I tweeted back saying like, oh, it was me. I put my prayer hands up. Basically saying, F you, buddy. That account was just taking things way too seriously. A lot of those accounts were. It's like, come on, relax. He won the award. Chill.
Yeah. It's not like he lost the award. The fact that it wasn't unanimous, that's only cool for paper standpoint. It's cool to talk about, but it had zero inkling on if you won the award or not. Like, you don't have to be unanimous to win it. Just win it. That's all that matters. It's not going to ask you 20 years from now, is that award less valuable because it wasn't unanimous? Like, nah. And it is cool for Ben to officially have received a vote in one of these major categories now, since I take it that, this is another year where he hasn't received the MVP vote, unless there was some type of, surprise ballot vote last over the weekend. I don't remember seeing it, though.
Watch out for next year, though.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right.
Watch out, man. Watch out. It's Super Bowl just happened.
Uh-huh.
We're already looking forward to 2021.
He already started training, huh?
Yeah, I think he's looking into it. I mean, he's on like one of those diet programs like he was last year. I think he's definitely turned a new leaf in his life with that. So, yeah.
The only reason I was thinking, because I remember, obviously watching the Jordan documentary again, the year when he came back from retirement with the 4-5 to the 2-3, and then obviously he got beat. He was like, you know what? Literally that next day he started training. And I was thinking like, dang, Ben went from a year away from the game, came back this year. It was cool, had some success similar to Jordan when he came back, but ultimately, ran out of gas at the end of this thing. So now it's like the revenge tour, highly motivated.
I could see
go crazy, 50 tuds,
I could see it.
I could see the 50 burger here, 5K passing, 5 picks tops.
I'm good with it.
Man.
Yep.
All right, I like it, man. And you know what? Throwing 100 yards rushing too for the season, because he's lean. He gonna be on that vegan.
Okay. Okay. I'm fine with that too.
He could look like Brad Pitt a little bit too in Fight Club, maybe.
Maybe.
Y'all favor each other at times when you get the beard going. Y'all favor yeah, right here, because you're too thin right now.
A lot of people have said that, man. Yeah. A lot of people have said that. I'm just like,
your face transforms into looking like Ben. I'd be like, yo, you're not Deke, you're Benjamin.
That's funny. Yeah. I've gotten that from a lot of people. It's pretty funny.
Like, definitely when the beard's out. When the beard's out, like, seriously. Yeah. I like it though, man. All right, so last night, Super Bowl happened.
Yeah.
Bucs went on to get that dub, 31-9.
We predicted the score right.
You did.
For the Bucs.
Yes.
No, you said 31 too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. You're right. I don't think any of us expected the Chiefs not to score a touchdown. That was kind of nuts. But Bucs won their second, Super Bowl in franchise history. Obviously, Brady, if y'all haven't heard by now, has his record 7th Lombardi, the most in NFL history. I mean, like,
it's debilitating.
Like, literally, no franchise has. I mean, obviously, us and the Patriots are tied with 6. No other franchise has more than that. My man Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any franchise in NFL history, and he has a record 5 MVPs in the Super Bowl as well.
Let me put this into perspective for you, dude. My whole life growing up, that was our claim to fame, dude. We had 5. Like 2005, like, we got 5. We had the most. I think it was the most at that point.
It was. And then I remember the...
Or no, San Fran had 5.
We got the 6
with Montana.
First.
Yeah, 6. So we got 6 in 08 then, quick. Mm-hmm. That was the Steelers' claim to fame. We had that for over a decade here.
Yeah, up until, 2 years ago when the Patriots won.
Anytime we lose.
Yeah.
Oh, we got more rings. It don't even matter. Best franchise ever. More rings, this and this and this.
Always best franchise ever because of the rings.
We still do. But it's like, oh my God. Can we even be talking about this anymore? Because a player now has more than the team.
That's always...
Like, I don't know if I
didn't think about that. You're absolutely right.
Like, I don't even know, like, can I be boasting about 6 rings now? But then someone could always come back.
Oh my
Brady's got 7, bitch. Like,
you are
what do I do?
Right. I never thought of, you know what? And I've heard that because my sister, I'll tell you, like, growing up, I was a Cowboys fan. My sister was a diehard Steelers fan. She loved Troy Polamalu, like that was her guy. And she would always say that, like, when I would talk about the Cowboys and I would talk about obviously me playing in Buffalo, she's like, well, shoot, we got the most rings like ever. You know what I mean, like, it's not even a debate. Like, this is the best franchise ever because of that. And then I remember even when I came here, that's always the rebuttal. We might have lost it, but we got more rings than y'all. Oh, y'all won? Oh, that's cool. It's your 3rd ring. Whoop-de-doo. Like, cool. And then I remember the Patriots getting the 6, and we're like, well, it don't matter because we got it first. No one cares about who gets there second, who gets there first. That was our rebuttal to them tying it.
They cheated, too.
Yeah. And come on, man. They ain't do it like we did it with integrity and honor and all these things. But now to see this dude, Brady, was 7, like, bruh. What is going on?
Like, what do I do? Like, what do we do?
No, not just 7, but 5 MVPs on. I'm like, bro, like, what? So you're not even getting, because you know how you can get the scenario where we talked about it, right? When people bring up rings for basketball, it's like, oh, rings. Well, what about Robert Horry then? What about this guy? What about that guy? You can't even make that case here because he's not getting carried. He's doing the carrying.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Nuts, man. nuts.
Do we even talk about the 6 rings anymore? Do we wait? We have to wait till he retires. We got to get the 7 and the 8. Like, I don't. He's gonna retire at some point, so that's our chance to catch up and get
he already
past
said
him.
he coming back next year. And
He's saying over 45 now. He said the deadline was 45. Now he's saying I'm open to past 45.
Well, that's good. That's kind of like how you are with Ben, right? Just keep playing as long as you want to play. So he's gonna keep playing as long as he wants to play.
I understand, and I'm good with Brady. Like, I don't know how anyone could hate on Brady at this point.
I mean, I love it. I'm not against it.
You know, I hit that point however many years back when you're just like, all right, this dude is just that good. They're so consistent. He's the hardest worker, leader, et cetera, et cetera. But even now, I think some of the backlash or even rebuttal to still Brady being like so great or whatever is he's just been under Belichick with the Patriots.
That was always the knock on him. Yeah.
First year without him.
And the off season. That to me is the even crazier part. We talked about that being the biggest reason why we thought teams would struggle this year. We say if you had to have a major overhaul, right? New quarterback, new head coach, stuff like that, how difficult it was. And we saw how Stefanski was able to have success. He was one of the rare ones. And then we saw how Brady, early on, they struggled. But once they caught up and hit their stride, they literally hadn't lost a game since they had lost to the Chiefs in the regular season. I think it was in week 13 or no, might even before that.
They were 7-5 at some point.
Yeah, but with that fifth loss or whatever, that's when they had dropped that one to the Chiefs or whatever, and then from there they didn't lose again the rest of the year. I mean, to me, it's nuts the not only his ability, because he played at a high level as well. You saw his numbers. I mean, for anyone that thinks he wasn't successful, he was carried. You look at his numbers, man.
Some of his misses were good passes,
absolutely,
too.
Absolutely. So when I think of all of that and you see him make the run that he's able to make in the postseason, and this is all under year one, but not only his play, but you see how he was able to raise the play of the guys around him as well. They were way more motivated. They believed in it, Like, it's just something about one of those type of guys on your team, man. It's just different. And it was good to see them, like I said, be able to win a game like that. And I was surprised the second half portion of it, because I thought in the first half it started out kind of like what we talked about and what I thought it would be. I said, man, with the Bucs being down the whole week, they looked like they were more comfortable with everything going on. The moment wasn't too big. They weren't excited by anything because they had been there all week. Whereas we said the Chiefs, they literally got there for them. It was either 48 or 24 hours before the game, and they got off to a very slow start. And I kept thinking like, all right, slow start, but after the half, they get a chance to get the nerves down. They'll come back and respond. But they never really did. And I thought that, the D line would have an impact, but I didn't think it would be to that extent. But when you look at the starting line that they put out there, when they really highlighted it, it was a lot worse than I realized. I thought at least in the interior part, center guard were still good. I didn't realize that Wisniewski was starting on at one spot, and then I don't even know the guy other spot. I was like, whoa, all right. And then when they showed the tackles, I was like, yeah, this is looking rough right here. And we said this before as well, because we talked about with the Steelers a couple of times how this is supposed to be a mismatch, right? This is a backup tackle. This is a backup guard. And it's supposed to be a mismatch, but it never looks like that. They made it look like a mismatch yesterday. And I was like, that was the difference. It's not a mismatch if you don't make it a mismatch. Those guys made it a mismatch. You watch Shaq Barrett and JPP from start to finish. It looked like, man, they put up a stat where they said Mahomes ran for over 500 yards yesterday when he was running from the rush. And you would see him literally every time he's dropping back, sprinting 10 yards, sprinting 15 yards. Like, that's crazy. And I was still upset because he was still throwing some dimes.
Bro, I could not believe like 2 or 3 of those throws.
Oh, my God, bro.
The one to Damian Williams,
like, it's nuts.
Would have been a touchdown.
I was like, what? Like, how?
He's literally parallel to the ground, horizontal. Throw. I couldn't believe it.
It was perfect.
On the money.
Yes. I said that one, the Tyreek Hill one, hit him dead in the face mask when he dropped in the end zone. I was like, whoa.
You're right on that one, too.
Like,
and then the other one where he was running to, I guess it would be left. I can't really describe on TV, but to the one side, and he was throwing across his body to the left back of the end zone where he almost caught it, but it hit off the pylon. Like in the back corner. Like it wasn't going to be a catch, but it was like, that was still
like the one hand catch.
That was still in stride.
Yes.
And basically like a double coverage back in the end zone.
Yes. I was just like, that was the part that made me mad, because I'm like, this dude is low key giving you Houdini, and it's going to be missed. Like the way people will view that game as, man, Mahomes had a bad game, this and that. But it's like, if you watched him, that's crazy. Like, if you don't really know that part, like, that was special. The way he was putting that ball in places from them throwing, like you said, that was probably the most impressive throw that I seen, man. the halfway parallel, face a couple inches from the turf, and just absolute dime. And then you go drop the money. Like, I'm like, my man running for his life out here, and you can't just catch the ball? Like, serious?
Yep.
He got whacked at once. I mean, dude, the Sue, Shaq, JPP sandwich they gave him, I said, oh yeah. God.
I don't even know who they called the flag on. I think they called it on JPP going low, but you could have called it on the head
smashed him, yeah. I was like, holy cow, man. But that 2010 draft class, you know how that go, man.
Sue?
Yeah, JPP. So it's something about
they
that.
They both were in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
AB catching a touchdown.
Yeah, it's Gronk turned back the clock. 2010 took off last night. You better act like you know something, baby. Yeah, act like you know something, baby. You saw what it looked like. Did you see? I don't know if you saw. Did you see it? Did you see what that? Oh, and big announcement. JMU has officially added 3 more players to the list of Super Bowl champions. Obviously, we had the starting right guard for the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Aaron Stinney. Yes, indeed. Go Dukes. Go Dukes. Josh Wells, backup offensive lineman, came in, field goal, block scenarios, extra alignment situations, Super Bowl champion. And then my young guy, well, he's not young anymore, but my man Earl Watford, Super Bowl champion as well, man. So, I had to give him a little love.
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah. So, and shout out to Big Steve McClendon too, man. Former Pittsburgh Steeler. He got him one now.
A lot of Steelers.
It was good. It was. I mean, the coaching staff, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Now, dude, I have a question about the Chiefs offense.
Yes.
You mentioned that you didn't think it was really on Mahomes. Mm-hmm. I feel like the coaching was pretty bad.
I don't think the coaching was bad. I think the B players didn't show up. In terms of the coverages they were doing, they said that we're going to take away Tyreek Hill, we're going to take away Travis Kelce. Because remember, last time they played him, Kelce and Hill, mainly Hill, were the ones who really killed them. They wanted to play a lot of single high stuff, and they couldn't. They tried to stay with that predominantly in the first half, and they got gashed off of it, right? But then we said in the second half, they obviously came back and only lost by 3 points. So they kind of figured it out in that second go around. In this game, we saw early on, okay, they said they're going to take away Tyreek Hill and take away Kelce. But you looked at the other receivers, and that was not the difference. They weren't getting open. To me, that's not scheme related to that point. It's more so if these guys are getting this much attention, your third and fourth guy, they have to win. And typically they had done that at times throughout the season. But we saw you talked about it. I mean, the one hits off the guy's hand. This would have been going to the right side of the end zone. How many do we see? Right, it was 2 that went to the right side. Obviously you had the crazy throw off the ground, but then this would have been in the third quarter. I want to say it was a little over route, crossing route where he throws it, and that wasn't Harmon. That was the other guy.
Kelce dropped one too earlier in the game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But to me, I thought the calls were fine. I thought, number one, they couldn't protect Mahomes up front, so he didn't have a lot of time. So some of these longer developing concepts that they're accustomed to, they couldn't do those things. But then the second part was those B-level receivers, the second wave guys, they weren't winning enough.
Well, that's why I asked, because it felt like they just kept trying to do those chunk plays where he didn't have time at all. So you had to switch to some type of short passing game, West Coast offense. But if you're saying that the B players, were they running shorter routes and they were just sending Hill long just to take the top off?
So the reason that they went to that approach is obviously when they saw that, number one, we're not good enough up front right now because of the injuries to protect for these longer developing routes. They said the alternative was you either go quick game or you do what you saw Mahomes doing, where he's going to just give a ton of ground, but he has the arm strength and the touch that, hey, if Tyreek can get over top one of these guys, I can lay it out there for him. If Kelce gets over top, I can lay it out there for them. So that was going to be their approach to combat it because, like I said, with the shorter, quicker routes, those guys weren't winning consistently enough. Now, I didn't think the Bucs were going to be that good in their secondary either, but I don't think that it was just necessarily they were so good in the second. I think it was the combo of that rush really getting after them. So
you probably only have a split second to make a decision. So if he's not open, you're
not going to go back. Yeah. So that was kind of how I looked at that perspective. I didn't think it was the calling scenario. I thought it was, like I said, the second tier guys had to win consistently. Even if you're not getting open all the time, when you do get open, right? We talked about the drops that they had. If the B-level players, those are their plays to make. You're not going to win consistently. You're not going to always get open. You're a B-level guy for a reason. But when you are, in position to make a play, you have to make those plays. And you think all right, Tyreek, the one that hit him in the face, if he catches that early on, different ball game. The two that we talked about that got dropped in the right side of the end zone, different ball game. Kelsey's drop, different ball game. So you can just see right there, and obviously 4 plays don't make or break a game, but how those 4 plays, if those are just simple catches, and it's not like, and we're not talking about a PBU. These are passes that hit these guys in the hands, or in some cases hit them in the face. You know what I mean? So it's not like,
even worse.
Right. So it wasn't even like we're asking you to make a spectacular play. It's just make the plays you're supposed to make. If you make those 4 plays right there, I mean, you think, well, that's 28 points. It's a different ball game. Night and day. The pressure that they were able to get the Bucs in terms of their pass rush, drastically different if you've scored multiple touchdowns and now it's a closer ball game.
And they were able to run the ball, but as they were able to run the ball, the game flow was terrible because they were down like 2 or 3 scores.
Yep. So now you face.
But
the
if
clock.
it's a close game, that's where you can mix it up, kind of with the short passing game, the running game. Now that short passing thing's so interesting to me. So those B guys weren't getting open at all.
The times in which they did get open, you saw the rush winning fast.
Okay.
And then the other times where they weren't getting open, it's just stuck. But then where they had opportunities, they were just dropping those, and those are the ones you got to catch. That's the thing. It's like you're not. I mean, if we were talking about, I guess, a B-level guy for us, right? Not saying that James Washington is a B player, but for our team right now, he was in the B category. We don't see drops from James, right? Now, granted, he's not going to get a ton of targets, but if he only gets 3 targets, he's going to catch 3 targets. He's going to catch 3 of them. He's going to catch 2 of them. Those guys weren't doing that. If you're, Harmon, if you're I'm drawing a blank on the 4th receiver.
Pringle.
Yeah, Pringle. If you're one of those guys, you're not getting a ton of targets. But when the ball is hitting you in the chest, hitting your hands, you got to catch those. And that's, to me, is the thing. But the O-line was definitely priority number 1. The lack of timing, that killed him. And then you flip it to the other side, you saw how that O-line, they controlled line of scrimmage. They were able to run the ball. Like, as much as we talked about Brady's passing, the running game was what opened all that up. They could not stop Fournette and Ronald Jones. And that was the biggest reason why they were able to do what they did to that defense, because the Chiefs defense is very much like the Bucs defense. But they're built to be either in 1-score games or with the lead. Not when you got to come out here and play the run for 60 minutes. Like, that's not what they want to do.
They were lining up, I think, with 1 receiver out there in a formation. Man. You're just like, all right, they're running it, just blitz everyone. And they still couldn't stop it.
Seriously, man.
I thought the Bucs manhandled them on both sides, offense and defense.
They controlled the line of scrimmage, man. And I talked about this on the live. I was like, it's funny. We say the same things when it comes to football games, right? Protect the quarterback, rush the passer, run the ball. If you can control these things, minimize turnovers, catch the ball. Like, it's simple, right? It's so simple to do. I mean, it's so simple when we were breaking down like what it is, but the execution element of it is where it gets tricky. And you just saw the basic fundamentals that the Bucs did. They protected Brady. They ran the ball. They rushed the quarterback. They didn't have the penalties. We saw how many penalties the Chiefs were having in the first half. Now, obviously, you can make a case that some of them might have been a little ticky-tack, but either way, you lining up in the neutral zone on 4th and 5 on a field goal, that's not a smart move.
They showed the replay on that. I couldn't even tell. Was he clearly over?
Yeah, it's the end guy. Yeah, okay. But it wasn't the guy that they highlighted. It was the other guy. It was Harmon, Mikael Harmon.
Okay.
He was the one. Yeah, so literally his head is in the neutral zone. You can
barely tell, but yeah, okay. But if it was that clear to you?
If you're on the field, it's clear because the way it is all of, and this is a simple trick for anyone who's watching the game, right? When you watch the field goal block team, right, the defense get lined up, everybody's helmet should be right in the same line together. You look at Harmon's helmet, it's ahead or front of everyone else's.
Okay.
And especially if you're the end guy and your head is in front of everyone else is right at the ball. So if your head's in front of them, that means your head is across the ball. But a trick that we always learned as defenders, and especially as rushers, right, your D-line, you can look to the right or to the left sideline, right? Where they have the yard marker. It's a referee there. You can point to him. And if you're offsides, he'll tell you to back up. If you're fine, he'll give you a thumbs up. Receivers do it every time. Think about how many times you see a receiver where they run to the sideline and they point. They give you this and he'll thumbs up or tell him to back up. It's that simple every play. So it's like, you know this, and knowing that that was a wide receiver, it's not even like
I didn't
that was
even
a corner.
know that. Wow.
Right. I'm like, if this is a corner that's at the, because sometimes you use your corners, right? Because we here in Pittsburgh, we use Joe Hayden, right? He's our guy that'll rush off the edge to get a block on a field goal. So I was like, if it's a DB, okay, cool. Maybe you can make a case for it. But a wide receiver, I'm like, bro, you're the one who talks to the referee every play. You're the one who comes out and points. I'm good. I'm on. I'm off. Like, this is what I'm doing. So you already knew this. So for you to line up in the neutral zone right there, that's not good football. That's self-inflicted. That has zero to do with the referee. You know, if the referee doesn't call that, you over here like, ref, what are you looking at, baby? Like, come on now. So to me, that those are the things. It's like, as simple as that is, they weren't doing those things. And the Bucs did a great job of making them pay every time. Whenever they were able to extend a drive, whenever they were able to, was pass interference on this call? All right, cool. Well, we're not going to settle for this. We're going to punch it in. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, the one I think probably was most ticky-tacky was the Mike Evans one down the sideline. But outside of that, I didn't think they were really that bad. Like the Tyrann Mathieu one, I forget who he was on, but he kind of drilled him going into the end zone. Yeah, it was Mike Evans. It was the one in the end zone too.
Because my thing was, I had a person try to hit me up and was like, well, he was square, and doesn't he own that position, you know, while he owns that area of grass while the guy's running his route? I said, technically, in theory, sure, but it's no different if I'm a safety, right? And I'm lined up 20 yards downfield on the hash, and I'm just standing there, and this receiver is running his route. If that receiver runs into that DB and falls, I don't care about you standing there. They're going to throw that flag on that DB. Like, you can't hit these guys down that field. Like, even though you could make a case by rule, it's like, they're not doing that. It's no different when you watch Gronk, when he would run his routes, you know, back in the day, he would run straight at a linebacker, hit him, and then turn around, right? Create the contact. The rules, it just is what it is. So it's like, Tyrann, you know you can't, you know, just sit there and hit that guy like that. Like, I understand what you're trying to do. You want to slow him down, but you can't do it that way. He knows that.
Yeah.
He knows that.
That was, yeah.
I thought the penalty after the touchdown, though, was more ticky-tack when him and Brady going back and forth. I wasn't a fan of that. I'm like, bro, they were already talking before the game. Let the man talk. Like, it's the Super Bowl. Of course they talking. Like, they amped up. It's the biggest game of the year for these dudes. Like,
I agree. That was a bad call.
That ticky-tack. Like, come on, man. Like, I felt like the refs in the first half were definitely too involved in the game. But then I thought in the second half it kind of balanced out. But obviously the second half of the game had gotten out of hand as well. So that kind of played into it. But
yeah, I'm with you. There was no reason to throw that flag. They were just going back and forth with each other. That's normal.
Exactly. I'm like, Brady definitely not about to punch Tyrann Mathieu. And Tyrann, outside of some, you know, college stuff, when has he ever had any trouble in the NFL? Like, seriously.
Nothing happened. Yeah.
And this college stuff was what? Marijuana. Which is legal places now. A lot of places. So to me, man, I didn't think that whole situation was bad at all, man.
That one didn't impact anything though, because it was just however many seconds before half.
So they just did the extra point. They moved it back. That was it.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was enforced on the kickoff, right?
No, you're right. Yeah. It was.
And he just bombed it. Yeah. He bombed it into the stands.
You're right.
Yeah, and I think the half was over.
Yeah, because I'm thinking in the second one, I'm thinking about the at the end of the game with Winfield Jr. doing the peace sign to Tyreek, which after the fact, like in the moment, I was like, yo, why is he so extra right now? But to find out like what happened afterwards, like it made sense.
What happened?
So when they played him the first time, when Tyreek Hill went for the 20 yards in the first quarter, he peace signs him and front flips into the end zone. So he was like, literally, I remembered that. And when I got that moment right there, I ran up on him, game's over. I'm going to hit you with the peace sign. And it was like a longer, because I'm like, why is he holding it so long? I'm like, when Tyreek will flash it and then just go. I was like, this dude is like making it like, obviously, like, yo, peace. You see it? 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I'm like, yo, why are you so extra right now? Like, dude.
The defense deserved to celebrate for the Bucs, man. I mean, they were celebrating at the end of the game in front of the camera and shit.
Shout out to Devin White, man. Devin White.
I know. Dude, they were covering Kelsey pretty good. Like the linebackers.
Dude, absolutely.
They definitely deserve to celebrate, man.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Especially against the Chiefs offense. Yeah, I think they scored a touchdown every point up to this game. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. We've never seen them shut out. Now, granted, when we say shutout, I'm talking about like touchdown. Like obviously they hit the field goals, but we've never seen under Mahomes. We've never seen that from them. So that was different.
Well, they showed his worst losses. I think his worst losses were like 7 points all the way up to this point.
Wow.
Like it was the Texans game last year, the Patriots game in the AFC Championship. What was that? Like overtime, 3 points.
Yeah.
The Raiders game this year, I think that was like a 7-point game.
Yeah.
They showed his worst losses. They were all like single digits.
I mean, he only has what,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many, but they were all single digits.
He doesn't have a ton of losses like in his career, which is like nuts. But yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, this was his worst loss.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so shout out to the Bucs defense for all that.
Absolutely, man. And also, I got a shout out to the coaching staff too, man. Bruce Arians, obviously the former Steeler, man, wins his ring as a head coach. Big time move, man. Oldest dude, and he said he's not retiring. He said don't think that, and he does feel like
he might as well just ride it out with Brady.
I think so as well. He said he there's a good chance they'll bring a lot of the guys back too. But I want to shout him out, man, because he has a historic staff, man. In terms of the way they built it. So typically, in the NFL most of the time, like 100% women only. 100% men only on the coaching staff. And usually a large amount of them aren't minorities, right? We always talk about the Rooney Rule because of the lack of minority hirings and the lack of diversity on coaching staffs. But with Bruce Arians, man, not only does he have, minorities at 3 of the coordinator positions, which is, like I said, an NFL level unheard of. Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator. Byron Leftwich, obviously a former Steeler, former Jag, is the offensive coordinator. And then Keith Armstrong is the special teams coach. But then he has a guy named Harold Godwin, who is the assistant head coach as well, run game coordinator. And then from there, he has 2 full-time women assistant coaches, man. Lori Locust, assistant D-line coach. And then Meryl, make sure I don't butcher her name, Java Defar. And she's the assistant strength and conditioning coach. And I'm just like, dude, these are all like impactful spots, very significant in terms of their roles. And typically, like I said, man, a lot of people, you shy away from women in this profession, or they shy away from the unproven minorities in this situation. Because like I said, with Leftwich, this was his first coordinator spot, right? He did pass game coordinating in Arizona after they fired the OC during the middle of the season. But this was his first real opportunity. So to see, Bruce Arians to take that chance, especially in the climate how it is today, like that was dope. And then for them to actually have the success too, because it's one thing to do it, but if you fail, then obviously they go back to the status quo, go back to, it's got to be from this coaching tree. It has to be this box, that box, this red tape. But to see this, it kind of defied all of that. It said, man, you don't have to, look a certain way or come from a certain place. If you know ball, you can do it. If you know ball, you can coach it, you can relate it. Man, there's a spot for you. And I thought, man, it was just dope to see that Bruce Arians to be the guy, to really put that on full display, man.
The connection he has with Pittsburgh and everything. You're right. Yeah, that's awesome. And like I mentioned earlier, I think the Bucs coaching staff, or just coaching in general, definitely was way head and above the Chiefs yesterday too. I think the Bucs definitely outcoached the Chiefs. So yeah, I guess it could play into everything that you say in there. It's awesome. And then
former Steelers, on the staff, you know how that go, baby.
It's awesome from all that, and then just to have the performance back it up too. It's a good thing.
Yeah, and and how awesome, for those guys that the first time in NFL history where the team that's playing in it is actually hosting it as well, man, the home team. So, to think about all of those variables that play into this, man, it was just significant on multiple levels from a historic standpoint. And then to add to the history that was made last night, we also had our first woman to officiate a Super Bowl, and Sarah Thomas, man. I thought that was huge as well. Because, like I tell you, I'm a dude with daughters. So anytime you're able to show examples of women breaking down barriers, you're able to show examples of defying what is deemed as a ceiling, because of gender or because of race or whatever it may be. It's always good to be able to have examples like, no, look, man, this one right here, man, she went out here and coached, she did her thing in the Super Bowl, man, as a referee. Like this was an awesome thing to see, man.
There's got to be a reason for it. She must be pretty good. So.
Absolutely, man. And that's the thing too. You can't, they don't just hand those opportunities out. It's based on, your qualifications. So every game throughout the regular season, this is how they do playoff games and the Super Bowl, obviously. Every game, every regular season game, right? Every call that is made and not made at times, right? If a call is missed, the referees get graded. It's a plus or a minus, right? And they give you scores each game. So then at the end of the year, whoever is the highest graded, they go into the pool for the playoffs, right? And then from there, it still goes on the same way up until you get to the Super Bowl. And it's like, okay, well, these were the highest graded officials throughout the year. These are the best of the best. All right, these are the ones that get to officiate the Super Bowl. So you can make sure that you get the best officiating crew, right? Or you get the all-star crew of officials and stuff like that.
Sure.
So knowing that and seeing her in there, it's like, man, so it definitely shows that she is more than capable of that as well. So, yeah, man, you know, it was good to see, man. Really good to see.
Good thing.
Yes, indeed. I'm trying to think. Oh, had to pull up my other notes because we got more Steelers news. I just forgot about that. All right, we had a hire.
Yeah, how much more? I got a couple hot topics too.
Oh, good. I'm
in my
glad
back pocket. Is this like the last formal topic?
No, we got 2 topics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have another
we
one.
got 2 topics, man.
Yep, I'm jumping the gun.
But over the weekend, this would have been either Thursday or Friday, the Steelers also made an official hire to the quarterback room, man. Official quarterbacks coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers is Mike Sullivan. And no, it's not the Pittsburgh Penguins head coach. I know y'all were thinking that. We're going to talk about them a little while too. But Mike Sullivan, man, this is the former QB coach for the Giants. 16 years NFL coaching experience. A little bit of background on him. He was most recently with the Broncos in 2018 as their QB's coach. But from then, let's see, from 04 to essentially 17 timeframe, he was with the Giants a large portion of that as their wide receivers coach, QB's coach, offensive coordinator timeframe. Won 2 Super Bowls with them. Excuse me. And then obviously he was with the Bucs as an OC for 1 season, the 12 to 13 season as well. But ton of experience under his belt. Obviously, like I said, man, worked with some higher end quarterbacks and stuff like that. In terms of my thoughts initially on it, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt it made me feel more so like Ben will definitely be back with this hire because of his relationship in terms of Sullivan being with Eli Manning, right? A guy who was towards the end of it, obviously, but still, you know, was trying to make sure he could be as productive as he could. It just reminds me of a similar scenario here. I'm like, all right, we do feel like Ben is going to be back next year. I don't think that this is the guy that's going to push the envelope, kind of like how Matt Canada being the OC is going to push the envelope compared to what we're used to. I don't think that the Sullivan hiring is going to be that, but I do love his experience. I do think that that's going to pay dividends in terms of the development of the other guys, in terms of your Mason Rudolph, your Dwayne Haskins, and whoever else they bring in. But yeah, just as a whole, I don't know. It didn't really excite me per se, but I do like it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's like I don't hate it. You know what I mean? I understand the hiring. I get that part, but you know, it just wasn't the crazy splash.
Yeah, it's nothing that really woke me up or got me to dig any deeper into it. Whenever I saw it, it was just, okay, we hired a QB coach. I'm not really thinking much of it. And honestly, what's crazy is probably throughout my whole life, outside of these past couple of years recording this podcast, any of these hires, I don't even pay attention to. You remember last year whenever we hired Matt Canada, I was like, I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you. Now I'm paying a little bit more and more attention to these hires and what they mean and whatnot, because you've broken down a lot of the ins and the outs with organizations. So it is a lot more interesting to me now. So with this one though, I'm almost resorting back to my old self. It's just like, I don't really care. But like you could paint it like, oh man, he's with the Giants, little championship pedigree, the experience you mentioned. Yeah. At the same time, it's like, what's this dude gonna do? I don't know.
Well, and like I said, this is what makes me feel like Ben is coming back,
which I'm good with. Then if that's how you're gonna frame it, I'm perfectly good with that.
But the only reason why I said it makes it feel like that is because, and I don't know if we talked about this or not, but having a conversation with Ed Bouchette, right? We talked about him, man. I mean, he's, you know, very much connected with the organization in terms of the conversations that he has with Mr. Rooney's and things like that. And having conversations with him, and this was stuff that we did on, you know, a couple of my other shows and stuff like that. He talked about how it's not a guarantee that Ben is coming back right now. Even though Ben said he wants to, when he talked about the contract stuff, he said that it's still not even a guarantee yet that the Steelers are going to make the deal work from their end either. Now, they're going to have these conversations supposed to be starting this week. So we can hear a lot more about that. But hearing him say that, I'm like, man, that really changed how I looked at this thing. So now the other side, when I play devil's advocate, I'm like, one part of me is like, well, yeah, you get this hire, safe pick. You know, he's already handled a situation like this. Cool. You got the stability. All right, I got you. But then the other side is I'm like, well, maybe they're doing this because they're saying to themselves, we're going to need a very experienced guy to groom whoever is our guy next year. If it's somebody through the draft, if it's somebody through free agency, or if it's a Rudolph or Haskins situation, you want to have somebody in here that's going to really develop these guys. So that was the other side. I'm like, whoo, I ain't like thinking like that as much though. So I'm going to go back to the Big Ben one. But you see how I was like, I can see it because I'm like, in a normal offseason, if we know you have Ben, quarterback coach doesn't really matter, right? The experience of the quarterback coach doesn't matter, which is why when they hired Canada, it was like, cool, but we know Ben's going to do what Ben does. He doesn't need you to pat him on the back and tell him good throw. He knows this. But now you're bringing in Sullivan. I'm like, that's a pedigree guy. That's a longevity guy. What are you trying to say here? Are you saying we're going to need somebody who could really coach their tail off at quarterback coach? Is that what you said? I don't want that. Because that lets me know that we might have a situation on our hands here, you know?
Man, you're really hitting this from all angles here.
I just wanted to mess with you a little bit, man.
I'm not flustered today.
It's the new cut. You just smooth, bro. It's the aerodynamicness on the sides, bro.
I think so.
But yeah, I was like, I could see that, but hopefully we'll get some news, some positive news as it pertains to the contract, man.
The Steelers off season is going to be booming, huh?
I mean, dude, think about this. Their last game was 3-4 weeks ago now, and we've had major news every week since then, man.
Yeah.
Major news every week. It's crazy. And they haven't even got to the player side of it yet when they're starting to, okay, we're going to cut this guy, restructure this guy,
the
extend
things
that
haven't
guy.
even happened yet.
Right. Like, it's nuts right now, man. So it's going to be
These
fun.
next couple weeks probably going to be crazy. And then that's going to lead right into free agency, though. And then we'll probably do some mock drafts or little draft stuff around March, too. So we're going to be good.
Oh, man. Compared to last year, this is... I'm just thanking the content gods. Thank you. Appreciate you. We owe you. Or actually, do y'all owe us because of what we did last year for y'all? Like,
I guess.
Yeah, it's the other way around. We was over here.
Grinding's paying off.
You know what I mean? Like, we had to get creative on them last year. Now y'all making it easy on us, baby.
Oh, dude, I was honestly thinking back to just some of these random ass lists we would be doing.
We were coming up with all type of stuff, bro.
Most likely to make the Pro Bowl from these divisions. First time Pro Bowls.
First time Pro Bowl.
They were good though. I mean,
hey man, as long as it's good in the moment.
It was like one of those things though.
Yeah.
I remember I'd be looking at this. I'm like, all right, I'll just go with what this dude is saying.
You got to roll with it, man. Yeah. But it worked though, and that's the thing. When it's funny when you look back when we're like, dude, we were really having to do that. But during the moment, it was like, that's the one.
This is probably the best thing we got.
We got one. It was either that or the alternative was what? All right, guys, no sports going on, no podcast. So we figured that, the latter would be the better one in terms of, hey, man, we're going to come up with these lists, a whole bunch of lists.
It was NFL.com, ESPN coming through.
They did, though. They looked out. So shout out to them, man. Shout out to them. But yeah, so that's the new hire, man. Mike Sullivan, not the Pens coach. But now as we transition to the Pens real quick, man.
Flawless transition throughout this whole podcast.
Because we're growing. The new cut, new transitions. That's the goal in life, man.
Sure.
And free agency.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
No. Free agency in terms of like Juju and the podcast. Because, we said that at the beginning.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We free agents right now.
True. On top of our game.
You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. And we're in our prime. Or we're coming into our prime.
I don't think I'm there yet. You might be.
I'm not in my... I better not be in my prime
You're probably not either because you've only been doing this for a couple of years.
This is our second year, right?
Yeah. I'm just thinking you're a little older than me, but yeah, I mean... Yeah. You should be like maybe in 5 or 6 years, probably your prime.
Yeah, because I thought prime for media people was like when they're in like 40s and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, most of them don't really hit it until they get into them 40s. Like we're ahead of the curve right now, man.
I think so.
We're the Devin Bushes and the who else was young coming in? Obviously, we said Juju. Who else was a young guy in the league? Like we're younger. You know what I mean? We're like that 20-year-old rookie. That's what we were.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which is good, smooth. But transitioning back to the Pens, man. Obviously, they've had a wacky 2 weeks for them, man, in terms of the postponement of games because of COVID and stuff like that. They had their first game. It would have been Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. The first game since February 1st. And obviously they had dropped this one to the New York Islanders 3-4. It was crazy though, man. I'm trying to think back on it. But the biggest thing was I thought as a whole they played well throughout the game. That was the crazy part where I thought that was probably their best game start to finish. But the end part is what got them. The power play goal they gave up third period. I think it was it a minute left? It was like right around that time. It was crazy. But that was the thing. Like I was surprised because I said, man, they literally started fast, looked good throughout. But still, their Achilles heel this season has been the special teams, right? The power play element of it, especially the power play kills and stuff like that. And that broke their back in the only opportunity that they had all game from a power play standpoint, man. So it was cool to see them responding in a positive way because we felt like they went through a little bit of a span where You get the Rutherford resigning during abruptly at the beginning of the season. The goalie situation, they just looked like they were getting a little bit mentally just drained, like not playing as hard. We talked about Malkin going through a little bit of a bad spell as well. But all of that kind of went away in this game, man. Malkin got a goal.
Had a
like
nice shot,
he looked good. Guys were flying around. P.L. Joseph, shout out to him. He got his first.
This dude's the truth, man.
Dude, he looks good. You see it, right? You see him. I like it. But he got his first goal, man. So I'm just like, they were looking good. Jake Gensel's still doing his thing. Jake
is
a nice shot. A nice start to the season.
Yeah,
man.
Those were all really nice goals.
Seriously, man. They didn't overpass. Like, that was one of the criticisms as well about them, right? We said they were too pass heavy. They were making the highlight reel. We're trying to get this perfect 5-pass goal right here that's going to be on ESPN versus just taking the shots. We said, man, sometimes your best scoring opportunities happen off of a rebound, happen off of, just a rush. It doesn't have to be this perfect play with this pass, that pass, that pass. Sometimes it just happens. And they look like they were focusing more so on the other, whereas in this game, they went back to just shooting. Just shoot the puck. Just play fast. Use your skills, your speed, and your just overall talent is what gets y'all, these scenarios. It doesn't have to be this super structured, regimented offense. Like, you don't have to play like that. And it just went back to that, and that's why it looked good. But like I said, at the end, the power play defense.
Even just defense in general. Now, I'm not going to excuse Jari completely. I think he let a couple.
I was waiting to hear how you was going to respond to this now.
It's weird because I thought he had some awesome saves, though, where you're just like, wow, he's really bailing out this defense. Had a save. In the second period, like, he went on a crazy run.
Bro, he had a save. It would have been second period. I want to say it was either a 2-0 break. It was somehow where it was two guys on him. Pass, wrap around, and he makes this like crazy dive to stop it. I'm just like, whoa, like, look good.
But yeah, there's maybe a goal or two that shouldn't have been let up, but I thought the defense put him in a bad spot at the same time too. So it's one of those things. I don't want to completely blame the defense because there maybe was a save or two Jari could have made. Yeah. At the same time, I don't want to rip on Jari because, like I said, in that second period and some of those saves he had were like amazing.
I agree.
What do you do? This is
my dilemma. So this is my dilemma here. Beforehand, I gave Jari passes because we said the teams in which he were getting scored on were the Bruins, the Flyers. We said, man, these are pretty good teams. We know who they are. We know what we expect from them. And we said with Casey DeSmith, we said, man, well, he's been playing well, but he's gotten the luckier draws in terms of these matchups. He's been the one going out there against the Islanders typically. And obviously the Islanders were on a 5-game losing streak going into this game. And 3 of those losses that came from the Pens, and DeSmith was in net. So I said, well, maybe, DeSmith's play was because he's going against the Islanders.
You might be thinking the Rangers.
Oh, excuse me. I
was New York, same thing.
I mixed them up. But that was the thought process, right? But now we see Jari against a little bit lesser competition.
Yeah, they're in the same boat as the Rangers. Yeah, from record-wise, I looked it up.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the Rangers weren't on the 5-game skid. The Islanders were. But to see the Islanders, coming off of a 5-game skid, and this is how they do it, and you're the one that's in net, it's just kind of like, all right, man, like the whole excuse of you going up against the better teams, that kind of goes out the window now because we've seen you versus a team that's very much comparable to the teams that DeSmith was going against. And he was successful in terms of, now granted, he was still giving up goals, but they were winning these games.
I do think our defense just makes all these offenses look like juggernauts, though. Like you can't tell me from me watching these games, I can't tell who's good or bad. I think everyone's pretty good. Yes. I'm serious.
But what?
I have to check afterwards. I'm like, was this team good or not?
But what's funny though? Who else did we say was like that this past season? The Steelers at times. Man, we talked about how they had Jeff Driscoll came in here and had us on the edge of our seat. Like, what is going on with this? Like how many times do we see it? Garrett Gilbert? We like, who is this guy?
That's all.
Is he good? Is this guy good? Like, it was the same thing.
Should he even start in the whole year?
Is it just us? Because I thought we were good. I thought we were really good. But this guy made us look like, it wasn't so pretty.
Those are good points.
So when I think of it, I'm just like, that's kind of my
Same
dilemma,
shit, different sport.
Is it a Pittsburgh curse? Like, what's going on here, man?
I know the Pirates pitching's always bad, so I'm sure we'll see more of that.
Hey, man, but shout out to the fact that, all our talent is just going away. Either we're trading people. Now, granted, I know we're on Team Tank right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of Team Tank, but I know that's what we're doing.
We need to be, though. I mean, we weren't doing anything.
True. I I do like the fact that if you're going to tank, you're going to do it the right way. And they are doing it the right way right now in terms of offloading assets, getting some draft picks and things like that, some prospects. But yeah,
it's going to be bad for a few years.
It is. I hope that the organization is committed to it enough, though. I don't want this to be a scenario where, you make a fire in the middle of the rebuild and now you set that back even further. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
That's my thing, man.
From some of the baseball insiders I've talked to, they actually like these trades. I think there was one trade that they thought was a little bit lesser than the other ones, but for the most part, the sentiment is it's good we're rebuilding. I think we got a lot back for some of these players.
Well, in the GM, they said throughout his career, he's, I guess, done this multiple times now in terms of rebuilds, and he's seen success with this. So hopefully that thing can help out. But until that happens, we're not talking we're not talking Pirates. Until that happens, I ain't about to hold my breath on that one. Y'all get pins. We'll give you pins talk. We venturing into that. We're not venturing to pins and Pirates. Now we're not doing both of them this year. All right. Not yet. They got to earn that.
For sure.
They haven't earned that yet.
I agree.
Unless you make this commitment of starting to watch these games and you really start watching them.
I think I'm going to do the same thing, honestly. I might just watch the highlights with these Pirates and do a little reacting. Although the Pens, the Saturday night game I actually watched because I put 15 down on whenever they were down 2-1.
Yeah.
Put 15 down on the money line. I'm like, all right, this could be amazing. They go up 3-2.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this game's over. Then they blow it.
Very true. Very true. But either way, the Pins are it's exciting to just turn on. Like, it's to the point now my middle girl, Ava.
These games are insane. Like, I don't even care. Like, we're winning or losing. Right. Like, they're keeping you on
Everybody's
the edge of your
watching
seat.
it. We're just like, yo, this is fun. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But we're not Pirates yet. You know what? Maybe once in a while we might sprinkle something in, but nothing right now. They got to earn that.
Okay.
They're going to earn it.
If maybe someone goes on a run. Like, I remember... Damn, way back, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we had Garrett Jones. Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't anything special, but, like, he went on a run for a month where he's just bombing home runs and everyone's going off about it. But, yeah, and then he never really became anything special after that. Maybe there could be something like that where there's a Pirate player just having a crazy run, a hitting streak.
We'll see.
Freddie Sanchez, whenever he was with the
Josh
Bucs.
Bell. Josh Bell did it. He gave us one,
I think we talked about him a little bit last year.
That was it, because he went on his run.
One segment, 5 minutes.
Hey, you go on a run, you become an all-star, you get 5 minutes on the podcast. He got 5 minutes on the podcast. We talked about him specifically, not the team, just him specifically.
It might have even been talking about trading him, to be honest with you.
Because we were talking about maximizing the profit. Like, you got to get rid of him while the iron's hot. Yeah. And that was definitely the case. And we said that's the Pirates' way. Because we've seen them do it numerous times. Or how to mention how, we're going to give up assets to get Chris Archer, and then, a couple years later,
that was terrible.
Chris, you go right back. Like,
as much as I have not been paying attention to baseball,
like, come on, bro.
The two guys the Rays got, aren't they amazing?
Yes.
Austin Meadows, and then they get a pitcher?
Yes, dude.
Yeah, that was terrible.
So that's why I'm just like, they got to earn that right, bro.
Okay.
They haven't earned it. But either way, man, we got, let's see, the Pens will play again Thursday against the Islanders, obviously. And then from there, man, we just got to see if they can keep the rest of their schedule going. They're kind of flirting with that same scenario with more games being postponed. I don't know what happened with the Islanders and the Rangers and all those teams and the Devils as well, because New Jersey were the ones who started the postponing of games. And then from there, I want to say the Rangers postponed the game after that. Like, it was not that little tri-state area where they started, all those NHL teams started to postpone stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, if the game is played, then obviously we'll tune in and we'll talk about it, baby.
Sure.
Yeah, now you said you had some hot stuff, right?
I do.
You got a little hot sauce on this topic action?
Scorching hot topic.
Oh, yeah, I like it, man.
I sent you the text. I got an update about this. I was completely shocked. There's literally no way this happens. But it piqued my interest a little bit. Certain running back from Green Bay. He's a free agent this offseason, and apparently the Steelers are one of the teams interested. What does this mean to you? Is it possible? How much is he going to try to demand?
Well, I like it. And I think I text you that too.
You were like he would be awesome here.
Yeah, because he's very dynamic. Can run between the tackles, can hit the perimeter, can catch. He does a lot. Obviously, he's used to playing in high stress situations, being on a team like Green Bay where they're constantly in the limelight, constantly winning. You're with Aaron Rodgers, so you're already accustomed to playing with the Hall of Fame quarterback and what the demands of that are. And honestly, from a money standpoint, I don't see a running back this offseason from a free agency standpoint getting paid more than $7 million.
Really?
And that's high end. I just don't see it because
He's not Dalvin Cook. He's not Derrick Henry.
You see what
He's
I mean?
good though.
Like think about this. Derrick Henry is the best in the league, right? Come off a 2,000-yard season, offensive player of the year, led the league in rushing last year. His contract is what, 10 million?
10 million.
10 million, because he was going to franchise tag it first, and they just gave him a deal that would pay him 10 million.
I wonder what he would be if he came off this year though, like back-to-back seasons like that.
Back-to-back
but
season,
still,
but you know what the knock would still be? He had 397 touches this year. So
it's lose-lose for running backs these days.
You're either going to show how durable you are, but I'm going to use that against you, or you don't get enough touches, so your numbers aren't as high, and I'm going to use that against you. So either way, you know you're in that situation.
The perfect time to probably get your money is how Zeke played it.
Yes, like if
what
you
was
can
it
get
after your third year?
If you can get them to pay you early like that, you're fine, because once you fall off, running backs we see they fall off. I mean, people are even questioning Zeke right now in terms of, are we going to see the Zeke that we knew before that was dominant, could carry a team by himself? Or is it going to be where he's just a really good running back, but
you're overpaying him?
You're overpaying him, right? And that's the scenario. So that's why I don't think that we're going to see a running back this offseason that's a free agent get paid, more than that $10 million cap. Because if Derrick Henry got 10, I'm not paying any back that's coming out right now more than that. Saquon isn't up for a contract right now, and he's coming off an ACL. McCaffrey's already paid. You saw how guys like L. Bell and Gurley, once they got the mega deals, how the injuries really caught up to them and they kind of fell off
a year or two after the team was willing to move on.
So for me, I'm just like, if I'm doing business with Aaron Jones, if I love him, I offer him 7. But if I'm the Steelers, I'll probably call him with 4.5, and hit him with the look, man. I understand you was on a contender in Green Bay. You could come and be a part of a contender and be the reason why here, versus there, everything you did was going to be what? Oh, it's Aaron Rodgers, because he's the MVP. Because
you can be an
X
factor here.
Right. Whereas here, even though Ben is here and he's going to get his share of credit, they're going to also say, well, hey, you were a big upgrade. We haven't seen a back like you since whoever, you know what I mean? Like they would go that route. So I'm like, you could sell them with that. You could sell them with, hey man, you're gonna get coach time. You're gonna get organizational stability. You're not gonna have to worry about going to one of these, New York Jets type scenarios where you're gonna get paid well, but the dysfunction there is gonna be detrimental to your career. You could get the best of both worlds, and from a weather standpoint, it's an upgrade, similar to Green Bay, but an upgrade weather-wise. So, like you could spin it in the 4.5. You might be like, I like that 4.5. Because I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of teams that say, I'll give you 3 because you're a running back. And it's just not worth it to pay those guys.
That's crazy because he had a good year.
He did, but
he had a really good year.
Like we just said, Derrick Henry came off a lead in the league in rushing, and his contract was only $10 million. And we said his style compared to Gurley, Le'Veon, and Zeke was so different, right? But still, he was very consistent, very productive, and he capped at 10. It's just like that's where the market is set for right now. Now we know somebody 5-10 years from now could reset the market to the new wave of high paid backs again. But right now, the residue of that last class they got paid, they're going to feel that this time.
Yeah.
I feel like for the next 2 to 3 years, we're not going to see a back really get that record breaking Ty Gurley, L. Bell, Zeke deal, man.
Dude, honestly, like as much as it is Aaron Jones and how good of a year he's had these past 2 seasons, part of me's like, man, how much different could the production be if we just draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round this year?
Like seriously, that's the conversation. So that's why, like, I don't think his market is gonna be crazy. Like, I would still prefer him over drafting a guy unless you're getting a Etienne or a Najee Harris or one of those caliber guys. I'm still taking him over anybody in the 2nd and 3rd or wherever from there because he's already established. He doesn't have a ton of mileage on him. And I know he can play in these, bigger game scenarios. Whereas with
Unfortunately,
rookies,
had that fumble, huh?
Yeah, that was the part, right? But to me, it's just like I told you before, like with rookies or with draft picks in general, I don't value them the same way just because of my personal experiences of being a later draft pick, beating out first rounders, top 15 picks. You know what I mean? So when I think of that, it's just like, give me the proven player over the prospect. But if you can't get the proven player, then obviously you want to go for the best prospect that you could get. But I just think in this scenario, Aaron is going to be very affordable. I think.
Okay, interesting.
Like I would be shocked if he signed for more than 7. I just don't see it. Like
you actually think like 4 might be realistic?
I seriously.
And depending on Ben's contract, how we do things with like DeCastro, Pouncey, maybe we would have enough.
Like seriously, like they're gonna,
and then we could just load up on the offensive line in the draft. Honestly,
like seriously, they're gonna make some moves, man. So we're gonna see how they play this thing out. But the big thing that Ed brought up as it pertains to the offensive line and stuff like that, and why it's another reason why it's not a foregone conclusion that Ben is back. Ben has the same conversation that he had when he talked about not caring about the money. His whole thing was not caring about the money this year, but he wanted that money to go to guys like Juju and Pouncey.
Yeah.
If you're bringing back Pouncey, I don't necessarily, you know what I mean? Like now you see how, okay, well that
Maybe
means you're
Juju
not going to
can
draft,
come back,
right? But you're not going to draft an old lineman if you're bringing back Pouncey, right? I mean, not necessarily you want to draft the guy now.
Maybe left tackle.
But people they're still having their little reports that they're looking at potentially having Banner and one of those guys, either Banner or Chooks, kind of compete out there at left tackle, move Filer to right tackle potentially. Like we've been seeing some of that stuff as well because obviously they're going to try to do business with Matt. So those are the scenarios that, you know, it really has multiple impacts. So it's like if it's the package deal of Ben's coming back money wise, if Pouncey and Juju are back, that's a different conversation than just Ben coming back. Ben by himself, we're open to that. Absolutely. But if you're talking about, all right, we're going to have to pay Juju, you know, around his market value to be here. If you're Pittsburgh, I don't think that makes a lot of sense because of the guys you have on your roster. Not saying Juju doesn't deserve to get paid, but if you're
good
Pittsburgh,
at receiver,
we're good there. I
think Washington could step up. Maybe it'll be a little bit lesser version of Juju, but I don't know about how much. I mean, you talk highly of him.
I think Juju's the better do-it-all guy, the blocking, the effort plays, the combat catching. But to me, James Washington is the better just receiver in terms of going to get the ball, getting open. I feel like he's the better guy in that. And I think if he was in the same scenario, using him in the slot versus linebackers like how they do with Juju.
You think he'd get a little more separation?
Absolutely, I do. But I think because he's capable of playing on the outside, they're going to play him on the outside. I think they'll probably move either Deontay or use Claypool a little bit more in there because it's going to be obviously lot more action. But any of those guys
then we can draft the guy in the third round.
But any of those guys we just named, it's like we're good there. And the Steelers have done a great job of drafting receivers. They've hit on a ton of those guys. So it just doesn't make sense for them to spend that money on Juju. But depending on how bad Ben wants him back, now you see how very much nuanced this whole conversation is going to be this week, man.
Oh, yeah. Who knows what like the main selling points of the priorities are for each Ben and the organization.
Because we know that Ben has said numerous times, well, him and Pouncey, they have this little pat where they want to retire together. So first, okay, looked like Pouncey was going to retire. Then it's all right. Ben said he's going to come back. So now he's trying to talk Pouncey to come back. But then it's like, if you're the organization,
you want Pouncey to come back for like $2 million.
You know what I mean? Like, what number is that? And then it's like, okay, if Pouncey's coming back, all right, what number? And then also, how much less are you going to take Ben if I got to bring him back? Because I still feel like I need to upgrade other positions as well. So that's why this week especially is going to be big when these conversations start getting leaked so we can know what's going on because, I need some more info.
Stay tuned.
Hey, dude, it's getting interesting, man.
Probably something dropped as we're talking right now, huh?
No, easily, bro. But like that's the scenario, and that's why he said like it can be a scenario where Aaron Jones can be here for that $4 million. Like it could be a case like that.
Yeah.
But it could also be a case where none of these guys are available because of the different things that Ben has said that he would like and the different, decisions that are going to have to be made. So as always, get your popcorn ready. Stay tuned, man.
All right. You want one more hot topic?
I need it in my life.
I'm seeing this little trend that's becoming a little bit popular. It's like this or that.
Corvette?
No. It's a this or that thing. You say, do you want this or do you want that? And you do it for like 8 or 9 times, 10 times or something like that. So you mentioned popcorn. Actually, this is pretty good. I want to talk some all-time receivers here. And we just had an all-time receiver score a touchdown yesterday. Familiar with Pittsburgh, has that connection with Pittsburgh. So I want to ask, I don't know if I want to do rankings. Like, where would you rank AB in the all-time list? Maybe I'll just rattle off some names. AB versus this guy.
Okay.
Who would you take?
Cool.
You ready?
Let's do it.
You want to do it?
I like this. This is fun. Shout out to Megatron, too. Now you talking about receivers, man. Megatron just got in there on that first ballot,
dude,
too.
You have to think, with the Super Bowl championship, we kind of talked about this with Legacy, Super Bowl championship, and he had a touchdown. He definitely had impact.
He balled out.
So where does that put him on this list with some of these all-time guys?
Let's hear it.
All right, ready? Mm-hmm. All right. AB, see... I'll just do it. I'll just do the top 3 right off the bat.
I'm with it. Come on.
AB or Jerry Rice?
Jerry Rice.
AB or Fitzgerald?
AB.
Whoa, over Larry Fitz?
I mean, Larry, put it like this. If we're talking about, all character team, give me Larry. If we're talking about...
I want this guy.
I need the intangible guy. Like, I need a glue guy, Juju type. Give me that. Now, obviously, Larry is a higher end version, but you think about the intangible, like Larry will block you. Larry, he's not going to celebrate. Larry's just a come to work, lunch pail, hard hat, catch everything type of guy. Played with Larry. Obviously, he was later in his career. Played against Larry early on in his career, right? Well, not the early part, but, in his prime part. Larry, he ain't never like AB to me.
Okay.
Like, there's certain things I've seen with AB, I'm just like, bro,
he's just got the longevity on him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. But it's just different, man.
Prime, I want this guy.
Yes. If height of their careers, give me prime AB.
AB's got
man.
that ring. Fitz don't have that ring.
Fitz balled out in the Super Bowl.
He did.
No debate.
He did. Him and Anquan Bolden. I mean, those playoff runs with them too.
Yes,
crazy.
Dude.
Bolden obviously had that other run with the Ravens. Jeez, actually, we'll bring up his name too later. All right, Terrell Owens.
This kills me. T.O. I'm a T.O. guy.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody doesn't know, like when I was in college and I would train, remember when T.O. was with the Cowboys, he would only wear his tights only, no shorts. So I'd be out there just like that when I was doing my winter workouts at JMU, tights only. I'm like, hey, man, T.O. said it's for the aerodynamic, make them run fast. Coach is like, yo, man, you think them 2-ounce shorts is going to slow you down? Something might be wrong. Don't matter, Coach. We ain't thinking that deep. T.O. said wear tights only. That's what I'm wearing. So, T.O.
Randy Moss or A.B.?
Moss.
A.B. or Isaac Bruce?
A.B.
A.B. Tim Brown.
A.B. Even though they, I feel like it's some similarities though between their two games, man.
Okay. Steve Smith.
A.B. Even though I like his just nastiness and his toughness.
Marvin
He's definitely
Harrison.
the toughest guy I played against. In terms of like just that edge about him.
Yeah,
like,
you told me some stories.
He a dog. No debate. He's a dog. You said Marvin Harrison. Oh man. That's tough.
There's some good ones on here.
This is tough too because Marvin, he definitely has the years. Obviously, he's the Hall of Famer. He was doing his thing. Kind of reminds me of AB too. Jeez. I'm biased. Give me. You know what? No. I'm gonna go Harrison. I'm going Harrison. He got a little jankiness off the field about him too. I can respect it.
Reggie Wayne.
I'm going AB. Yeah.
Andre Johnson.
I'm going AB. I like a little bit more speed on my receiver. Even though Andre Johnson, he was that dude. He
Chris Carter.
AB.
Anquan Bolden.
Definitely AB.
Torrey Holt.
AB.
Andre Reed. Julio Jones.
Oh, God. I hate this question right here.
I got probably like 3 or 4 more that are tough because AB's
right.
like in the 30 range.
Yeah. I'm going AB.
Whoa.
But I will explain why.
Okay. Wait, so what about Julio versus Andre Reed?
I like Julio.
Okay.
But this is the thing. It's a weird scenario.
Yeah,
like
you got a weird connection here with these three.
because it's like Julio, I feel like, is the best receiver out of those guys, right? And if you stack him up, he is up there with all these guys, talent-wise, productivity-wise. My problem is he has the same issue that T.O. has now. Not as bad, but how many wide-open drops do we see from Julio? Julio will drop that rock. We've seen it too many times now. Now, it's not egregious. It's not leading the league in a season like T.O. had with 15 drops. It's not to that extent. But it's hard for me to say that you're, better than AB when I might have seen AB drop 2 passes in my whole time of knowing this guy. Like, and this is a practice included. Like, he just doesn't drop the ball. Yeah. It don't matter if the ball hits his helmet. It don't matter if he's getting held. It doesn't matter if he can't see it. Like, if his hand touches it, he's catching it. And we've seen Julio in stride, dropping touchdowns, dropping money. That's my thing. But I just feel like Julio is still, I just feel like he's just way too good for like a Andre Reed. And it's not a shot at Andre because Andre's a Hall of Famer in his own right. I just feel like,
but you took Reed over AB.
I did, which is the weird because it's like with Reed, it's like, dude, I feel like Reed, like he has numbers, he's polished, no ring, obviously that hurts, but it's just, man.
You might have to put AB over Reed.
I feel like I feel like I should, but I've already made my statement, so I can't retract it. So it is what it is, man.
Brandon Marshall.
Nah.
AB.
For a couple of reasons. But the main one being because he said something slick, remember a while ago about Peasy, and then obviously Peasy had to go talk to him, in a little personal manner, and that whole energy changed. So since then, yeah, B Marsh, nah, bruh.
All right. Do we want to say Hines Ward? I know what you said for the Steelers all-time team.
Well, now he had a Super Bowl right now, so it changes. And this isn't all time. This isn't Steelers. Now this is just wide receivers in general. Different conversation. If we're talking about for the organization, difference. We talking about all the time. That's the difference between Debo versus Peasy. If we're talking greatest rusher in Steeler history, you go Harrison. You look at the numbers. Peasy got the numbers.
He had some good years.
Absolutely. Dolphins and Cardinals. Peasy numbers is there. So that's why I was like, this is a different talk when we're saying specifically for a team versus just now as in general. In general, it's not a debate to me. This is AB.
AB. All right.
Like AB to me, like if it wasn't for the off-field stuff, you could make a case that he is arguably, top 5 all time. That's including your Randy Mosses, your Jerry Rices. Like I think of him
based off what you're saying right here. There's not too many people you have over.
Seriously, he's in that ballpark to me. I feel like the off-field stuff, and this lets you know how bad the off-field stuff was. 3 years ago, right? Going into that 18 season, we were talking about him in that vein. We were talking about him as a first ballot Hall of Fame type. We were talking about him as going down as the greatest receiver in NFL history. And just think about the damage that he did throughout that time since 18 to where it got to the point where we were talking about him not making the Hall, not because of a lack of productivity, because we said his numbers are identical to Calvin Johnson's. Same amount of years, and AB's numbers are better than Calvin's in multiple categories in the same amount of time. Now, that wasn't even including what he did this season when he came back. And we saw Calvin as a first ballot guy, but with AB, because of how much off-field stuff happened, people forgot. They were just like, yo, we can't talk about AB in a positive light because of all the negative. But I'm just simply saying, if you just look solely from a football standpoint, because we already said in the Hall of Fame, it's not the Hall of Character. Well, you got some people in there. I mean, you want to go down the list? We can go down the list. You want DUIs? You want murder? You want gun charges? You want rape? Which one you want? You pick your poison now. The Hall is a little janky. All right, we got you on that. But when you look past the hall of jankiness and get to the actual fame, the productivity part of it, AB numbers 3 years ago were already on par with first ballot Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. So yes, I think he is that good. Yes, I think even though he has some very, very detrimental character flaws on his thing, right? Some stuff self-inflicted, some stuff it was bad timing. But regardless of that, I can't unsee what I've seen from a practice standpoint, day in and day out. 4 years of watching this day in and day out, and then going into the game and somehow, some way, still finding a way to be wild. Like, I've seen this 3 times already. How did you do it even better on this time with better competition out there? I can't unsee that. So, I think he is better than, 95% of the guys on that list, man.
I agree, dude. Now, to your point. In fact,
now that I said I am changing my decision, man.
Over Reed?
Give me AB over Reed.
Okay.
Yes, I changed my decision.
Dude, to your point. So, he's at 11,746 yards. So, that's 31. Dude, just think these past 2 years how much that killed him. So, just add maybe 2,000 more yards to that. He'd be at 13,746. Mm-hmm. He would be rated like Chris Carter, Anquan Bolden range right now.
Dude. Think about that.
Right now. With probably 2 or 3 years left in his prime.
Absolutely. But in less years than they ended from their whole career standpoint, man. So
100%.
That's my thing. I'm like, his numbers like that, and that's off of a 2-year hiatus. Like, come on, man. Like, this dude is a monster when he's on the field. We saw it last night.
You ready for 2 more?
Uh-oh, get to me.
Michael Irvin.
And I'm a Cowboys guy. Well, used to be at least. I was an Irvin guy, though. Love Irvin. Because he's a part of like that glory of like me becoming a Cowboys fan during that time frame.
Playoff moments, right?
Everything, man. Playoff performance, jankiness. I like a little jankiness on my celebrities. If you my superstar, give me a little. I need a little.
And his numbers aren't as gaudy because he only played 11 years. Yeah. From what I'm looking at here.
Yep. I'm going to go AB over him, but barely.
You got Irvin in the top 10, though.
Yeah. What? Irvin's definitely top 10. Yeah.
Last one.
Irvin's top 10. Irvin's borderline top 5 to me. It's just the thing that we're having to deal with now And we've seen this, especially because of how the game has evolved. The numbers now are evolving to being way more gaudier. And that's because of how the game has evolved to being more passing league, which makes it, when you look back and you see Dan Marino throwing for, close to 5,000 yards. I think, no, he actually threw over 5,000 yards, had 50 touchdowns before it during the 80s time frame. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, his second year. I think it was 48.
Yeah, it was
close,
48, yeah. But that was
the
nuts.
record until Peyton broke it, yeah.
Like, that should have never happened. You know what I mean? When you think about that and then think about how long it took for us to see that happen again. And then recently with Mahomes, like, that's unheard of. With Irvin back then, his numbers, 5-10 years ago, it's like, yo, this dude was crazy. And it made a lot more sense to have him in a top 5 scenario. Whereas right now, yeah, the game has changed. And obviously AB has benefited from the newer age, right? That's my thing. I'm just like, well, even though I know what Irvin was, the way the game is played now, it's hard for me to ignore what I'm seeing with those numbers as well. So that's why I'm going to go AB over him. But Irvin's definitely in that top 10, borderline top 5 to me.
Last one. Ready?
Here we go.
Calvin Johnson.
I got AB. No. Excuse me. I got Calvin over AB.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been Calvin over AB. Like, both guys, great combat catch guys. So that's like, when I think about receivers, I want guys that can catch the ball in any situation. Wide open, 4 defenders on you, pass interference, face man. It doesn't matter. Like, if the ball hits your hands, you catch it. Calvin does that. AB does that, which is why I'm very high on those guys. I also love fast receivers. We already know what Calvin could do. We've seen him run the 4.3 in somebody else's cleats, right? Size too small. The story is there. The legend is there. We know what AB can do. We've seen how he gets after it. Both have great work ethics. Both of these guys grind. They put in that time and it shows, right? Then both of these guys on top of that have shown that, man, it doesn't matter if they're winning or losing. They're going to be able to still produce. They're still going to show up and do what they do. Now, I know people will bring up, well, AB quit on his team in that last game in 18. Listen, there's a lot of factors that went into that, but very similar to how you point to that one game, we could point to one game where Scottie Pippen quit on his team as well. And that was hiding in the Lance Dance, right? Where he simply said in the middle of the game, I'm not going in for this last possession. All right. We don't bring that up every time with Pippen, though. So I'm not going to keep bringing it up every time with AB either. All right. But as a whole, the biggest difference is this. I love speed. I love combat catches. I love playmakers. But it's nothing like looking like a creative player while doing it. And when you look at Megatron reminded me of when me and my little brother first got our PlayStation and we got Madden. And we're like, oh, man, because at the time, obviously, I wasn't on the game, right? I said, okay, man, we got to create ourselves.
Humble brag.
You like it right there, right? Oh, it's only certain things like to brag on. Madden is one of them. I love the fact that I'm on Madden. It's cool.
They need to drop a Moats card on Ultimate
They
Team.
need to, man. I used to have a card, man.
They did. I was looking back on it. I was looking back. They had some good ones for you. Like they dropped 89 overall for you.
Yeah, I had a couple cards, man. Yeah, but now I guess they say he in this media thing. We're gonna leave him alone now. So it is what it is. But to me, man, that's what it reminds me of. It was like, man, my little brother, he would always be the quarterback, and for me, I'm gonna be this 6'7", 6'8", just flying receiver, big muscular dude, look like, supposed to like creative player. And when we watch Calvin, that's what he looks like. So for me, that's why I'm like, yeah. And he was doing it with Stafford. Yeah. And before Stafford, he had what? No, I want to say he had Stafford the whole time, Kittner. Did he get one with Orlovsky? I want to say he had one with Orlovsky as well, man. So when I think of that compared to to the quarterback play that AB has had throughout his career now, because it's not just in Pittsburgh.
I think that quarterback play made Calvin retire early too.
Oh, you see it? But for me, I'm like, AB benefited from having 2 Hall of Famers in his life. He had Ben, and then from Ben he goes to Brady. My man Calvin, we just named off what he played with. Yeah. The best guy is Stafford, and people will debate if he's even a Hall of Famer or not. So yeah, that's why for me, I'm like, Calvin gets the nod.
That's interesting, dude.
Yeah, man.
Well, that was the last one. You want me to run through mine real quick?
Heck yeah, man. Let me hear it.
Jerry Rice. Yeah, you got to go Jerry Rice.
Yeah. It's Jerry.
Fitzgerald. You might have convinced me, dude. I would have said Fitzgerald right off the bat. You might have convinced me.
He does it like because his numbers are good, but you look at the longevity element of it, and I'm just like, I don't like numbers based solely on, this guy played for 15 years, so his numbers are better. Like, no, let me see
if you were to take off his last 4 or 5 years.
Like, let me see, like, if this is a per game average, like, what are your numbers talking about compared to his numbers? Who has more impact week in and week out? Who do I have to game plan around? Who gives me nightmares? AB gives you nightmares.
I'm going to go with you then. I'll go AB. I'll do T.O. for T.O. versus AB. I'm going to stick with T.O.
T.O.'s that dude, man.
I'm going to stick with Moss, too.
Moss, that dude. And now you see why I say Moss all the time, right? I think Moss to me is my number one receiver. Like I love Jerry Rice, and I feel like Jerry was amazing. But to me, big speed, run routes, catch everything. Like as great as Jerry Rice was, Jerry Rice is certain things that he can't do that Moss could do. I never said you got riced. Because I never seen Rice wasn't consistently going up on top of your head, going to get that up off of you. That was Moss. Moss hit you with this. Good luck. You know what that is. And I done seen him do it to, you named it. Which quarter you want to start with first? You go good on the who's of the hit parade, and he done dogged them all out, man. So yeah, that's why.
That's interesting. That's a controversial take, I think, right now.
It is.
But I think there's people that are just, I respect that though.
I'm just saying, man, like that dude, he's different, man.
100%.
From start to
You're
finish,
right.
you saw it.
No one says, you always just say you got Moss.
And he ain't play with Montana. Now, granted, he got the 1 year with Brady, but the majority of his career,
actually, it might have only been 2 because Castle was in the 1,
right?
And then Brady might have been for the other. I think he was only 3 years with the Patriots.
That was it. The year, the 50 touchdown year for Brady, or no, he didn't have the 50 touchdown.
Because Moss had 20 something.
Right. That was the year. But other than that, I'm like, you look at the quarterbacks that man was playing with.
Culpepper wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. He had a cannon.
So you heard how we just talked about
versus Montana.
No, Montana. Who else was after Montana?
But in terms of
who else was after Montana? Oh, okay. And then we talked about the quarterbacks that
Rich Gannon in Oakland. He was pretty good. He had a good run.
You hear how you tried to talk about Rich Gannon? Who did you say before Rich Gannon? Who was the other guy you just said?
Steve Young.
No. You just say, was it Kettner? Did you say Kettner? No.
You're talking about Calvin Johnson.
No. I said who would you say with Moss though? He had Culpepper. That's who it was. Culpepper. He got a Cunningham year too, didn't he? He got Cunningham his first year.
I think he did.
That was his rookie year. He had Cunningham. Yeah.
But in terms of numbers, they let it loose up there with the Vikings.
Oh yeah, they was just airing.
That's what I mean. In terms of stats,
they were slinging that thing, man. But it was because of Moss. Moss changed how they ran that offense. Cunningham came in there and they had the flea flickers going. It was everything just throw it up, 50 yards downfield, go get it.
I think what actually kills him, it's not the Vikings years. It's the 2 Raiders years and then also the years after the Patriots. Because for Rice, those years after the Patriots, I don't know what age Moss was, but I think at that point in Rice's career, he was still getting 1,000-yard years. I think that's what killed Moss. Yeah. Like he didn't have that longevity, I guess that consistency with him. Whereas Rice was with the 49ers like most of his career. And then he went to the Raiders with Gannon, still had 1,000-yard seasons. Absolutely,
man. But you hear these quarterbacks you're naming off. That's all
I get it. Man. No, that's what I mean. I guess you would have to think about it more, but I think most people would say Rice. But there are people that say, I'm just taking Moss. I don't give a shit.
Like, you can make the case in terms of how decorated Rice is. And we see the numbers, we see the highlights and everything like that. And he's talked about it, and he should be in that conversation. But if I'm playing a game tomorrow, and I got all these receivers to pick.
This is how I did my all-time team.
Right. I'm going to pick Randy Moss. I don't like Jerry Rice. You're cool. I love you. Tip my cap. It's an honor to meet you. But you can't do what Randy Moss can do. I don't care who my quarterback is when Moss is out there in his prime. One game, Deke, you could be the quarterback. Throw it as far as you can. Throw it as high as you can. Moss gonna do the rest. Rice, you're gonna have to have a little precision. You're going to have to know how he's running these routes, get the timing together, put it where he needs to get it. Moss, I don't got to coach you up. Man, put that thing as far as you can, as high as you can, and he'll go do the rest. It's different.
I know, dude.
And people, he's a one-trick pony. Okay. If you are the greatest one-trick pony, well, give me the greatest one-trick pony against this other guy who's very well-rounded and excellent in everything else, but his height, the peak of his play, never to me got to the peak of when we saw like Moss, like prime Moss, like that was different, man. And that's why for me, I'll go with him, man.
I'm not complaining with it.
Yeah,
I just think compared to what most people would be thinking, I'd need to look into it. If we want to do all-time rankings at some point, I'm down for that, but for sure. Tim Brown, I'm going AB. Yeah. Steve Smith, I'm going AB. Marvin Harrison, that one's close too.
It is.
I'll go AB though too.
It was tough because like Harrison is definitely in that conversation. Like heavily in that conversation.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne, I'm going AB. Andre Johnson, that one's close too. I
feel like people were a lot higher on Reggie Wayne than I was.
I thought he was awesome.
I thought he was too, but I feel like people view him as like way better than like I thought he was a Hall of Famer, and I'm with you on that, but I don't know. Like the way I hear some people talk about him, I'm just like, I didn't think of him like that. Like,
so you were actually lower on him.
Yeah, I was lower on him.
I thought he was really good, dude.
Do you think he was better?
I think it's because of fantasy. He was a good fantasy player.
I was like, do you think he was better than Harrison?
No, but he was. But whenever Harrison left, like he was the guy.
I know, but like sometimes I hear people talk about him in that vein. I'm just like, I don't even think he was that nice. Like I thought he was good. I think he should have been a Hall of Famer. But yeah, I don't. I think he's like in that second tier of the Hall of Fame wide receivers, not in the first tier. We talk about the first tiers, the guys that we're naming, your Rices, your Mosses. That's like the elite of the elites. Like I don't think of him in that same tier. Personally.
Yeah, he's top 10 all time in receiving.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Andre Johnson, I'm going AB. Mm-hmm. Chris Carter, I'll go AB. Bolden, AB. I think honestly, yeah. So hold on, Holt, AB.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take AB.
Who'd you have right here?
Andre Reed, I'm gonna stick with AB.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall, I'm sticking with AB. Hines Ward, obviously, I'm sticking with AB. Michael Irvin, I'm going with AB. I think the only other one
that was tough for me though, man.
The only other one's Calvin Johnson, and I think you're right there. I think I'd take Calvin Johnson over AB for now. Let's see what AB how he can finish out his career. Yeah. If he can have some great runs still.
I mean, but as long as he stays hooked to Brady, he's gonna be fine. We know this.
Like it's just one of those things. Could he have like this second prime for like 4 or 5 years?
But why couldn't he? You got the quarterback. That's the big thing. If you can get paired with the quarterback, you can be fine. If AB was in Vegas with Carr right now, I don't think we're as optimistic. But knowing that he's with Brady right now, we know what Brady is. He walks on 4 legs, Yeah, goes by the name of GOAT. We just call him Tom. That's his Earth name, but we know him. That's GOAT. That's GOAT Brady. TB12 the GOAT. That's what he is,
Well, that's all we got for these.
He just shows us his human form every once in a while. But that's a 4-legged man right there. It's crazy.
These are these receiver rankings, or I guess the this or that segment. Did you like it?
That was dope, man. We need to start doing some. Keep that around, man. We got to run that back, man.
I could keep it up. I'll think of something. Maybe that's something to do with the current news, or maybe it's just something random, something all time. Do you want this player or that player?
And I like the fact that like it wasn't like I didn't even know we were doing this. Like
I thought about it. My brother sent me some of these ideas. He was sending me some stuff that's going on around like social media. He's like, some of this stuff's really popular. And it's the dumbest shit. It's literally that. Yeah. It's people saying like, do you want this or do you want that? But like people like viewing it. Like it's crazy.
Well, I mean,
people are gonna be debating. I was about to say,
think about how easy that's gonna get debated right there.
I could do a Moss. I could just do greatest receiver of all time. You just talking about Moss versus
Moss,
Jay
Rice,
and then we could do like
AB,
2 parts
Calvin,
of the AB versus these guys. Yeah.
T.O. versus Harrison. Like we could throw all these guys. Like seriously, bro, I'm with it. I see that new cut, bro.
Well, no, you got to give credit to my brother on that one.
Shout out to the brother then. Does he got the Brad Pitt cut too?
He's got a mullet going right now.
Ooh, shout out to the mullet.
He does, yeah.
Business in the front, party in the back. So it's supposed to be. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I think that's it. Actually, one more thing. This is quick.
I love it. Let's do it.
Favorite commercial yesterday?
Oh, Shaggy. It wasn't me.
That was hilarious.
Oh man, listen.
The line at the end got that one.
Yeah, I love it. So for me, obviously, like, little nostalgia here. I watched that 70s show, right? So I remember Ashton Kutcher. Obviously, you know that whole scenario, that whole dynamic, right? But then at the same time, I remember one of the first like albums I heard growing up. I tell people all the time, like my 2 albums that I heard growing up. I usually tell the main album that I heard, and what happened, it was the Ja Rule 336 album. We're visiting my grandmother who was living in Philly. We go downtown to, the little, I forgot, I think it's Broad Street up there. Go and buy the Ja Rule 336. It was burnt. And then she buys the Shaggy CD, right? Get home. My parents are pastors at the time. I played the Ja Rule 336. Now, at the time, I didn't realize that the person that recorded, because it was on the tape, they dubbed it on the wrong side. So they had side B as side A. So anyone that's heard the album, the side A intro is super chill, it's mellow, it's some talking, you're good to go. The first song after that, smooth, you're good to go. Anybody that's heard side B, Ja Rule 336, that album, and you listen to that first song, yeah. I'm not even going to talk. I can't even talk lyrics of it up here. We would get banned. Like, it's that type of song. Very provocative, very ahead of its time. Think City Girls and Cardi B, but in 2000. Like, you weren't ready for that. You know what I mean? So now, mind you, this is my parents' clergy collars. So they heard that 30 seconds of it, toss it out the window. But the reason why I'll remember that is because the next album that was played was my grandmother. She was like, well, look, I got this Shaggy CD. We could play this.
No.
And it wasn't me. So literally, I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, who is this Shaggy guy? She's like, oh, this is Mr. Bombastic. And I'm like, oh, all right. So I had to keep listening to Shaggy that whole weekend because I didn't have the Ja Rule anymore because they threw it out the window. So from there, hearing that song last night, I'm like, oh, it wasn't me. And I was like, oh. So that's why for me, like, I loved that commercial, man.
It was good. It was really good.
Man. Who was your favorite, though? You had a favorite?
I got to go with the Bud Light Legends, dude.
Oh, yeah, that was clean. That was clean.
Especially, I mean, the Avengers, how they had I don't even know what you call those, the circles, but they did squares for the Bud Light commercial where they're coming out from all these different dimensions. Post Malone, Cedric the Entertainer, all just the Bud Light legends from their previous commercials.
And they got a lineup, though.
And they saved the day.
Their lineup is nice.
They get the people at the end of the day, the Bud Light case with that they went to the store for. So I got to go with the Bud Light Legends. I think I was set from that point. I'm like, this is the best commercial, even though that Shaggy one was really good. There was a couple other good ones.
They had some good ones, definitely. And what's your thoughts on the halftime show, man?
Oh, you know what, man? I wasn't gonna watch it initially, but I went over to my neighbor's house to help him with his garbage and everything. And I just watched the whole second half at his place. So I was watching it there. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
I enjoyed it. I did notice the older crowd, they weren't as big fans of it. But
he played all the hits, man. I thought it was excellent.
Like for me, I loved the intro. It was very angelic in terms of how I'm coming in like an angel. It kind of got weird when they had red eyes. Like I'm like, yo, is this demonic? Like, hold on now, baby. I ain't signed up for this. But I love live music. We talked about this as musicians. Like I love just hearing the acoustic music and just the live performance. And The Weeknd, I mean, he's a mega star, a mega performer for a reason, and he showed it. I did think it was a little weird though, the little mirror maze thing that he was in.
I thought that was cool.
I mixed it up. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, kind of weird to me. I didn't like that part of it, but the rest of it, I digged it though. I thought that, he played the things he was supposed to play, performed the way he was supposed to play. I mean, and I liked the outfit. The outfit was clean, man.
Yeah, and apparently, because I'm not really that connected to The Weeknd or some of the more popular stuff that's going on, but
he got good albums.
I was gonna say apparently, he's connected this over the past year or so with his music videos, just on his appearance and the dancers and everything that he was trying to do with his music videos, and it led up to this point. Yeah. So I guess shout out to him for that. I think it had something to do with a play on Hollywood and just how people are so overworked with their appearances, doing plastic surgeries and stuff like that. So. I thought it was good, and I said
that whole freak out mirror thing.
Whatchamacallit? I said to my neighbor as I'm watching this, I'm like, man, if he's actually singing this is incredible. Mm-hmm. And from all sides, it seemed like he was actually singing it instead of lip singing. So
I liked it, man. It looked good.
I thought
it definitely looked good. I'm trying to think what else about it. Yeah, that was my big thing, man. I thought he was, he thought he did his thing, man. We get some half times where it's like, all right, I ain't really digging this, or all right, this is too old, or okay, this is too, this we didn't get the outrage. Was that last year where people went crazy over the Shakira dancing? Was that last year? Shakira and J-Lo did the show last year. Yeah,
might have been.
And people went crazy over their little dancing and stuff. But I didn't think it was like that. I liked the fact that it was a newer person instead of the older people. He was
in his prime. He played all the hits too. It was excellent. I thought
it looked good, man. I enjoyed it. So shout out to the NFL for that, man.
For sure.
I'm trying to think, was there anything else? I think of.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was solid, man.
I think we covered it all.
And we borderline almost at another 2-hour podcast, man. We back to back. I thought it was going to be a 30-minute podcast today, too. This is too
It was
funny.
that AB segment.
That's what it was. I was like, we got about 30 minutes, 40 if I stretch it. It's good times, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, man, if you're good, I'm good, baby.
I'm definitely good.
All right, well, man, shout out to everybody that's been showing love, man. Shout out to all the subscribers checking out the journey with us, man. Tuning into, because we can't say it's self-proclaimed, which y'all say is the greatest podcast ever. Yeah. You know what I mean? So shout out to y'all for that. And until next time, baby.
Peace.